Hello 各位大家好啊，Hello 大家好，有啲家長入咗嚟啦，歡迎大家嚟到我哋Skyreach 嘅一個 online seminar 啦，好多謝大家星期六嘅晏晝抽空即係出席嘅，我哋咧有一個少少嘅事咧，想大家一齊幫手做嘅就係咧大家麻煩將你電話號碼嘅頭4個數字send 俾我哋 Patrick 主持人，佢會分翻你哋嗰個 register 嗰個嘅次序登記翻啦，然後咧就會我哋知道大家係 join 咗嘅時候咧，我哋會將今日嘅 seminar 嘅錄影會 share 翻俾大家嘅，係啦，即係 in case 如果你 miss 咗啲咩嘢，或者你覺得有啲嘢好緊要，你冇抄低到嘅，咁咧記得將你個電話號碼登記嘅電話號碼嘅頭4個數字 send 俾我哋嘅主持人 Patrick，send 我哋主持人 Patrick，咁就唔好 send 俾全部人啊，淨係 send 俾主持人 Patrick， 咁佢就會同大家安排㗎啦。好，咁咧今日由於即係我哋都好高興啦，係請到即係加拿大3個 school board 過嚟啦，就係分別係 Vancouver school board 嘅 Iris 啦，另外係Burnaby 嘅 Richard 啦，同埋 Langley 嘅 Ming 嚟到我哋呢度做分享嘅。So a warm welcome to Iris from Vancouver school board, Richard from Burnaby, and Ming from Langley school board. And 咁咧，我哋好多謝佢哋啦，抽空參與呢一個嘅 online 嘅 seminar。咁佢哋3個都係 base 喺加拿大嘅，佢哋而家已經係深夜㗎啦。所以我哋都唔阻大家太多嘅時間，我哋都會盡快開始嘅。咁咧就好，我 share 埋個 screen 先。好，咁咧我哋咧就都唔等其他太多未入嚟嘅家長啦，因為即係加拿大嗰邊其實都係夜晚，咁我哋都可以開始住先啦，係啦。咁再一次多謝大家參加我哋今日嘅Skyreach 嘅 seminar 啦，我係 John。咁大家如果係有 follow 我哋嘅 social media 或者睇我哋 YouTube 嘅 channel，咁可能都會見到我㗎啦。另外啦，有我哋嘅同事Susan 啦、Marco 啦、Natalie 啦。另外我哋嘅 support team 啦，都喺度一齊同大家手嘅。咁如果各位家長錯過咗琴日嘅 Toronto 有呢個 YLDSB Toronto 嘅 Catholic District School Board 呢一啲嘅 School Board 嘅精彩嘅 seminar 咧，咁其實你可以係將嗰個你可以 WhatsApp 我哋，跟住然後咧我哋可以將琴日嗰個錄影咧咁係 send 翻俾大家嘅。咁今日如果你話聽唔切或者有啲問題你想再問或者 miss 咗嘅，咁同樣地啦，今日嗰個 recording 亦都會 send 翻俾大家。咁我哋聽日咧同樣嘅時間大概11點半鐘左右啦，咁就會有2間嘅私校，同大家又做一啲嘅分享嘅。希望大家都繼續多啲留意我哋嘅 channel 啦。咁咧因為其實疫情前疫情後都好啦，要 connect with 加拿大嘅學校其實都唔係咁容易啊。咁我哋好榮幸咧，請到佢哋係親身同大家去講。咁大家如果有啲咩嘅問題嘅，記得你可以咧係 WhatsApp 留言俾我哋啦，或者喺 chat box 度留言俾我哋咧會同大家咧即場係問大家嘅school board 佢哋嘅解答啦等等嘅，係啦。啱啱 join 嘅朋友，非常之歡迎你哋，嚟到我哋當中。我哋今日咧有3個 school board 嘅，第一個嘉賓會講咧係我係啦，我講完之後咧，咁就會輪到 Iris 啦，就係 Vancouver school board 啦。因為 Iris 咧佢仲有一個 meeting，咁所以佢完咗個 session 之後會有一個 small Q&A，咁然後咧就會到Richard from 呢個 Burnaby 啦，跟住到 Ming from Langley， 跟住之後有個大嘅 Q&A， 同埋咧我哋可以有一個 breakout room 啦。係俾大家咧去 one to one 同啲學校去真係講下，譬如如果我真係想報名，我需要啲咩，或者我而家小朋友情況係點樣嘅，咁直接可以同 school board 去傾關於報名嘅情況嘅。咁我都唔阻大家太多嘅時間啦，咁我都正式開始今日嘅加拿大嘅 seminar 啦。咁你如果琴日有 join 嘅家長啦，咁可能咧就可以稍為休息五分鐘咁嘅樣啦，因為咧頭都係講翻同琴日一樣嘅嘢嘅啫。咁首先咧有咩需要考慮啦？咁咧就 大學嘅學制啦，學習嘅文化、院校氣氛啊，係咪可以做實習啊？生活費啊、安全啊、天氣啊等等。咁咧，我哋琴日亦都講咗，今日再講多一次啦。咁咧，我哋會睇大學嘅學制同埋大學究竟有啲咩科目要求先嘅。點解會睇大學咧？個原因係因為其實大學好多時都會有啲學科嘅 prerequisite 嘅。咩何謂 prerequisite 咧？即係話其實大學讀某啲嘅科目，佢會要求 ，for example 啦，要讀一啲好嘅商學院嘅，可能會需要一啲叫做advanced 數學嘅 advanced mathematics 或者叫做 pre-calculus 嘅學科咁樣啦。咁如果你冇讀嘅可能 engineering 啊或者一啲勁嘅商學院，佢未必會收你㗎。咁咧BC 省咧就稍為 relax 少少嘅喺呢樣嘢度。咁但係如果你話我想 carry BC 中學嘅 diploma 去其他嘅省份咧，咁佢哋都會有科目上面嘅要求你喺12班、11班讀啲咩嘢，你先可以 join 到佢哋嘅大學嘅。咁所以大學學制係非常之緊要，你必須要知道個遊戲玩法，因為如果你唔知道，你喺11、12班揀錯科咧，咁就會令到你大學有啲科會揀唔到㗎。咁咧，其實加拿大咧有一個好完善嘅叫做 PR 嘅制度啦。咁如果咧你本身小朋友去讀中學嘅話，如果佢係而家係中4過去讀中5、中6，然後再讀2年 college 咧，都趕得切喺2026年係行呢一個叫做Stream A 申請 PR 嘅。咁但係如果你係中4以下嘅學生咧，咁就享受唔到呢一個，除非佢 extend。不過其實又唔使咁擔心嘅，因為加拿大其實有個行之已久嘅叫做 Open Work Permit 嘅機制啦。咁就係如果你喺加拿大大學畢業或者大專畢業咧，其實亦都可以申請佢哋個 Open Work Permit，咁啊可以方便你留喺加拿大度工作。咁其實咧，所以就唔需要話太擔心即係畢咗業之後可唔可以留低啊咁樣。咁但係記住啦，你中學畢業就唔可以留低住嘅。一定要係2年以上嘅 diploma，或者係 degree 啊等等咧，先至可以留低喺加拿大，即係攞呢個 open work permit 㗎。好啦，咁點解揀加拿大嘅中學咧？咁最主要就係容易啲去適應啦。點解容易啲去適應咧？其實加拿大即係你話係一個好靚嘅地方，好多人都會覺得係一個好即係容易生活嘅地方。咁但係始終你去到一個新嘅環境啊、新嘅學制咧，其實你都要啲時間去適應嘅。咁如果提早去到咧，其實亦都係對適應有幫助。咁但係咧，最大嘅重點咧就係其實係嗰個壓力啊。咁加拿大咧好多時啊，即係唔係淨係話BC 省啊、安省啊咁樣啊。咁基本上咧都係好着重你嗰個功課嘅部分啦。咁考試都唔係話即係超級睇重，或者甚至乎有啲科係唔係好睇，即係個比例係少於一半嘅。咁所以變相咧，其實令到即係大家係會容易啲，或者係叫做享受啲個學習啦。咁我哋將個時間咧真係擺喺學習，而唔係操練考試嗰度。咁呢個咧係同香港好大嘅分別嚟㗎。咁另外啦，如果你話我要攞嗰個成績去加拿大或者北美嘅大學咧，亦都係非常之直接嘅一個方式嚟嘅。咁咧左邊嗰個係一啲安省要求嘅科目啦，咁我哋唔好理。咁另一個最主要嘅即係點解要揀中學咧？係因為咧，其實香港直入加拿大嘅大學啦，其實個要求都幾嚴格㗎。香港 DSE 嘅成績啦，你要4個核心科目再加2個選修科咧，都要4級以上嘅。咁如果你係即係已經改咗制冇通識，即係嗰個科目嘅學生咧，咁可能就3科核心科目通識要 pass 啦，另外2科嘅選修科目都要4以上先至入得到嗰邊嘅大學。甚至乎如果你話一啲勁嘅大學咧，基本上全5啊咁樣先會入得到，一啲都唔容易嘅要直入。咁所以其實咧，去加拿大讀高中咧，其實就調翻轉頭咧，就係一個非常好嘅途徑啦。第一，俾你讀啱去入大學嘅科目；第二，佢要攞嗰個高分咧，其實比香港你攞55星啊，我相信係會容易啲嘅，因為你只需要做啱自己就得㗎啦。好，咁你講咗少少學制之外啦，咁簡單介紹加拿大嘅唔同嘅省份啦。咁今日最主要講嘅就係 BC 省，BC 省嘅首府係溫哥華。咁 咁今日咧 Vancouver School 都會喺度同大家做介紹嘅。咁如果你對溫哥華係非常之感興趣嘅話咧，咁啊千祈唔好錯過啦。咁另外咧 Vancouver 其實都好大嘅，咁佢附近亦都有好多唔同嘅即係接管轄嘅區啦。咁啊亦都有譬如係呢一度。譬如啦，我哋有 Burnaby 啦、Surrey 啊、Langley 啊，有啲人會問啲Maple Ridge、Delta、Richmond 啊咁樣。咁啊，今日咧主要咧我哋集中係 Vancouver 同 Burnaby 啦，另外就有 Langley 嘅。咁喺度可以少少講一講啦。咁啊，其實 Vancouver 同 Burnaby 都係好受香港人歡迎嘅區域啦。讀書又好，置業又好，移民退休都好啦，都係好受香港學生或者家庭歡迎嘅。咁點解會有 Langley 咧？其實都不得不提嘅咧係Langley 有一個好特別嘅地方。你見到咧，雖然佢距離 Vancouver 好似望落去遠少少，但係其實一啲都唔遠嘅。即係個感覺好似係譬如你元朗出市區咁上下啦。咁香港人可能你住大西北嗰啲都慣㗎啦。咁但係佢好處係咧，真係比較少一啲嘅international student 啦，比較少華人嘅。咁啊，通常啲即係亞洲人就未必會做咁遠。咁如果你想要一個真係即係我完全係我想99.99% 係講英文嘅咁樣，咁咧亦都係一個好好嘅考慮嘅地方嚟嘅。咁另一樣嘢佢哋學校都幾好㗎，係啦。咁啊唔好覺得話好遠喎，山卡拉喎，咁絕對唔係嘅。咁所以我哋今日都邀請咗佢哋過嚟。咁我哋亦都有學生係去過嗰度讀啦。其實咧感覺上面咧學生嘅即係都係比較多係本地生為主嘅。咁咧值得一提啦。咁咧就香港啦，讀完中一咧，咁正常喺加拿大就讀 Grade A，咁香港讀完中二就去 Grade 9咁樣。BC 省咧第8年級咧，咁就已經係佢哋叫做高中㗎啦，中學㗎啦咁樣。咁同 BC 省有啲唔同，BC 省9年級先開始係嘅。sorry，安省9年級先開始係，BC 省8年級就係㗎啦。咁陣間啲學校咧都會同大家再講一講佢哋嘅架構啦，佢哋教學嘅模式啦等等嘅。咁要讀大學咧，除咗12班之外，亦都可以考慮 foundation 啦。咁亦都係我哋嘅有代辦嘅一樣嘢嚟嘅。咁但係咧 foundation 可以選擇嘅學科咧，就一定係冇咁全面同冇咁多㗎啦。咁但係如果你話我已經中5或者甚至乎中6嘅話咧，咁去再讀11、12班未必咁適合你，因為都要睇翻你嗰啲 credit 係對唔對得到啦。咁但係咧亦都有 foundation 就比較唔睇呢樣嘢嘅。咁我哋會因應你嘅成績而去再決定呢個部分嘅。加拿大嚟講啦，其實咧私立中學咧佔比係非常之多嘅。咁基本上加拿大主流都係公立中學嚟講啦，加拿大佔比係最多嘅，咁而佔比例亦都係最多啦。國際學生咧，相對起私校啦，公立係會少啲，學費係非常之相宜啦。咁但係咧要留意咧，基本上絕大部分嘅公立學校啦，都係冇寄宿嘅，冇宿舍，咁咧就要住呢一個嘅寄宿家庭，即係 homestay 嘅。咁佢有幾平咧？我哋後面會有個對比嘅表啊嚇。咁私校嚟講咧，咁又會有分一啲嘅優質啲嘅傳統私校啦，寄宿嘅或者係一啲嘅國際學生為主嘅國際私校。咁呢兩個咧都唔係我哋今日 cover 嘅 area 啦。咁最主要我哋今日咧都係講公立嘅中學嘅。咁學費方面啊，咁呢個表咧就係for舊年嘅學費啦。咁今年咧相信學校都會有調整。不過你見到咧，其實如果公立中學你學費加埋個 homestay 咧，其實20萬之內咧，其實係一定 OK 嘅。咁其實都幾經濟實惠啊。咁如果你話揀一啲平啲嘅校區咧，可能15、16萬都搞得掂㗎啦。私校咧要睇下你揀咩學校啦，有啲貴嘅咧去到成40幾50萬港紙都要嘅。咁冇 passport 點樣？即係冇加拿大 passport，有啲同學或者家長問都可以入政府中學咁樣，係絕對可以嘅。加拿大嘅政府學校絕對歡迎國際學生報名啦。咁咧就我哋嘅做法咧，就首先我哋會攞你過去嘅成績表。咁首先就問嗰個 school board 究竟你個成績 O 唔 OK 啦？問完佢 OK 啦，咁就會申請啦。另外就會同埋呢啲 homestay 亦都去接觸。咁睇下會唔會有當地嘅 homestay 係可以提供到俾你嘅，咁或者暫時幫你去 搞掂呢兩樣嘢嘅。咁至於你話咧，有啲嘅家長可能佢會係攞住加拿大護照，但係決定家長係唔過去嘅話咧，咁我哋都可以即係幫你手嘅。咁但係如果你話我本身加拿大護照，爸爸媽媽又諗住一齊回流過加拿大嘅，又想係享受呢個免費嘅教育嘅咁樣樣，咁可能咧你就可能我哋先了解你嘅情況啦。咁但係好可能你哋都係自己去報嗰個校區啦。咁我哋同你自己報嘅分別就係咧，通常啦，我哋就會因應你嘅成績，咁你報名嘅時候揀學校啦，咁然後問學校嗰啲學校有冇位啊，成跟住先至報名啦。咁如果你自己去問 school board 嘅話咧，咁可能都要等學校去派位嘅，係啦咁樣樣。咁所以咧就你都要考慮一下啦。全家人一齊過去的而且確咧就係免費，咁但係可能你就要考慮會唔會需要恢復翻可能加拿大嘅居民身份啊咁樣樣啦。咁有啲家長可能 declare 咗 non-resident，可能你都要留意翻呢樣嘢，唔係話你話翻去就翻去啦咁樣樣。咁咧稅務上面嘅嘢咧，最好就同加拿大嘅會計師去傾清楚關於你嘅情況。咁呢個就唔係我哋今日 cover 嘅部分嚟嘅。好，咁今日咧我哋會有今日我哋唔係有 Surrey 嘅 School Board 啦，sorry 咧打錯咗。咁我哋係 Burnaby 嘅 School Board、Vancouver School Board 同埋 Langley 嘅。咁正話講咗啦，報名嘅話咧，除咗需要你同我哋講，譬如你對邊個 School Board 有興趣，或者咧我哋可以 counter propose 翻，譬如根據你嘅情況啦、你嘅興趣啦，會同你講翻，譬如邊個 School Board 比較適合你，或者裏面邊啲學校會比較適合你啦。之餘咧，其實需要準備一啲嘅財政嘅證明啦。咁啊4個月喺申請簽證之前4個月其實就已經準備定個財政嘅證明嘅。另外咧報咗名交學費咁先至會有個 LOA 啦。咁另外咧申請 Visa 嘅話咧，學生簽證咧咁啊需要大概預留2個月鬆啲嘅時間去搞啊成啊咁樣樣嘅。咁如果你話而家我都仲想報嚟緊9月入學嘅話咧，咁咪絕對仲有位嘅。我相信今日在座3個 school board 其實都仲有位係可以收到大家。不過咧時間就比較緊迫啦，因為而家已經係4月差唔多尾啦。你越遲咧，咁啲好嘅學校啲位就越少。另外咧做簽證嘅time frame 就會越少。咁所以咧我哋都鼓勵大家係盡快開始報名。如果你課今年9月入學，咁但係如果你話係唔係喎，我係課明年嘅，攞定資料嘅，咁就可以聽晒啲 school board 先至再決定都得嘅。好，咁我嘅少少嘅分享咧就去到呢度啦。係啦，咁大家咧如果係有問題要問嘅話咧，咁記得啦。將個問題收集咗之後 WhatsApp 問我哋，或者你係可以喺嗰個 chat box 嗰度將嗰個文字咧係打問題打俾我哋，咁我哋會幫你去問個 school board，我哋會幫你去轉交個問題啦，咁然後佢哋會喺呢度即場同你解答嘅。好，咁咧都唔阻大家太多嘅時間啦。咁因為我講嘅嘢，如果琴日嚟過嘅家長咧，可能都聽過㗎啦。咁我哋即刻將個時間咧就交俾 Iris 啦。咁 Iris 咧係 Vancouver School Board 嘅國際生嘅收生嘅代表啦。咁亦都係我哋嘅即係直接同佢溝通嘅一個當地嘅負責人嚟嘅。咁Iris，咁咧就時間就交俾你啦。咁因為咧大家要留意啦，如果咧想問 Iris 或者 Vancouver School Board 相關嘅問題咧，咁記得啦，佢完咗之後咧會有一個session 咧，即刻會做一個 small 嘅 Q&A 嘅。咁因為Iris 之後有另一個會要開，咁所以咧佢就完咗佢 Q&A 嘅部分咧，咁就冇得再同大家傾㗎啦。咁所以大家要把握呢個機會啦。咁咧我將時間交俾 Iris，唔該晒你。
唔該晒 John，thank you very much。大家好，各位家長好。我係Vancouver School Board 嘅 Iris， 我喺香港出世嘅，不過嚟咗加拿大咧都30幾年啦。咁喺 Vancouver School Board 咧就今年係我第27年喺 Vancouver School Board 嘅國際教育部做招生代表嘅。咁咧就再一次歡迎大家啦，就參與我哋今日 Skyreach 我哋嘅partner嘅線上說明會啦。咁咧就今日我就想介紹俾你家，就關於咧係溫哥華公立中小學嘅資料嘅。咁大家喺嗰個圖片度睇到咧，依家咧我就想 share 俾大家咧，就睇下Vancouver 嘅一啲 我哋啲學生咧去嘅一啲 activity 啦，或者簡單啲介紹俾大家知咧，溫哥華咧係一個咩嘅地方啦。咁大家都我諗香港嘅家長咧對溫哥華咧就一啲都唔陌生嘅，好多家長都認識 Vancouver 喎。咁係一個好靚嘅地方啦。咁喺2021年咧亦都係位居世界最佳嘅城市之一啦。咁我哋所有嘅學校，公立學校咧，幼稚園至12年班嘅公立學校咧，都係位於住宅區嘅，亦都係響巴士路線上，所以咧返學都好方便。咁如果搭飛機嚟嘅話咧，大約20分鐘咧就已經可以直達我哋嘅市中心㗎啦。咁本地嘅學生咧就係根據佢嘅地址去編學校。咁或者我先介紹翻，頭先阿 John 其實解釋咗㗎啦。加拿大嘅一啲地理嘅資料啦。咁我哋 Vancouver 咧就係位於加拿大最西岸、最西南嘅一個城市。咁天氣當然係好好啦。咁我哋係屬於 BC 省，英文係 British Columbia， 係 BC 省裏面嘅其中一個城市嚟嘅。咁咧溫哥華嘅地理位置咧就係響離開如果揸車咧去西雅圖咧，大約3個鐘頭到啦。咁喺右邊呢個圖片咧，頭先阿 John 都俾大家睇咗啦。我哋 Vancouver 咧就係喺呢一個紅色嘅位置。咁我哋旁邊可能有 Burnaby 啊，有 North Vancouver、West Vancouver 或者大家都熟悉嘅 Richmond 啊、Langley 啊、Surrey 啊。咁我哋咧10幾20個城市咧加起上嚟咧都叫做大溫地區。咁每一個城市咧都有一個教育局嘅，都係屬於我哋 BC 省教育廳轄下一個部分。咁我咧就係代表溫哥華市嘅公立中小學嘅。咁溫哥華市嘅公立學校咧，其實咧係 BC 省其中一個最大嘅學校區嚟嘅。呢一個圖片咧就話到俾你聽，我哋溫哥華裡面嘅公立學校嘅位置。咁我哋有18間中學啦，90間小學啦，同埋2間成人中學嘅。學生嘅總人數咧係52,000人。咁關於溫哥華教育嘅概況啦，就係我哋 BC 省公立系統嘅一部分嚟嘅。咁我哋提供小學同埋中學嘅課程啦，同埋成人高中啦。如果頭先阿 John 都講咗啦，如果係嚟我哋呢度嘅公立學校讀書嘅話咧，本地學生咧，國際學生咧係需要同寄宿家庭一齊住嘅。咁溫哥華咧係一個比較特別啲嘅城市嚟嘅。以我哋嘅 program 咧，大約有一半嘅溫哥華嘅學生嚟溫哥華讀書嘅國際學生係唔需要我哋安排家庭寄宿嘅，因為好多朋友咧，如果選擇嚟呢度咧，佢哋都有親戚或者係朋友咧可以接待佢嘅小朋友啦，或者去照顧佢嘅小朋友。咁所以我哋大約有一半嘅學生係需要我哋幫佢家庭幫佢安排呢個寄宿家庭。咁如果喺溫哥華教育局獲得嘅學歷咧嘅證書咧係世界公認，即係話咧佢讀完書之後咧可以喺北美任何一個城市咧申請大學嘅。關於我哋國際教育嘅課程咧，依家咧我哋嘅學生咧嚟自大約35至40個國家，國際學生嘅人數咧係超過1250個國際學生喺我哋溫哥華市嘅公立中小學讀緊書嘅。咁所以咧佢個比例咧基本上咧係大約少過3% 嘅國際學生係喺我哋嘅學校區裏面讀緊書嘅。咁咧就另外呢個圖片咧就關於溫哥華嘅學校嘅。如果國際學生嚟到我哋呢度讀書嘅話咧，就係同我哋本地學生咧一齊學習嘅。咁不單止咧佢哋可以提高佢哋英文水平啦，亦都可以咧選擇一啲咧係比較特別嘅選修科，佢哋自己有興趣嘅選修科去讀嘅。亦都可以參加咧學校嘅學會啦，或者一啲叫俱樂部啊，譬如咧係戲劇啊、體育啊、戶外活動啊、義工啊，有好多唔同嘅選修科學生都可以選擇嘅。咁我呢個圖片裏面咧就係俾大家睇到咧有一啲學生咧就係上完我哋嘅 drama class 咧，佢影嘅一啲相片啦，我哋同學上堂嗰啲照片啦，或者其中我哋一間學校嘅照片嘅。咁另外呢一個圖片咧就俾大家睇到一啲比較受海外家長歡迎或者熟悉嘅溫哥華公立中學，因為我哋喺溫哥華裏面咧，其實都有好多名牌嘅中學嘅，譬如 University 中學咧就係喺 UBC BC 大學裏面嘅範圍裏面嘅間中學啦。Churchill 中學或者大家都好熟悉啦，因為佢有 IB program 啦。Eric Henry 中學咧就係我哋排名跳升得最快嘅一間中學啦。 咁分區中學或者大家都睇到嘅神間堡壘，咁其實係一間好老牌嘅受好多國際學生歡迎嘅一間中學啦。咁其餘我哋仲有總共有18間中學咧係可以俾國際學生咧係選讀嘅。關於寄宿家庭同埋監護人咧，就如果國際學生係需要我哋幫佢安排家庭寄宿嘅話咧，本來我哋溫哥華咧係同 Langley College 嘅 Homestay Program 合作咧，係安排我哋嘅學生咧係住寄宿家庭嘅。咁但係因為咧疫情嘅關係啦，咁寄宿家庭就比較短缺啦。咁所以咧我哋由舊年開始咧已經同大約8至10間唔同嘅提供寄宿家庭嘅公司合作，係安排寄宿家庭俾我哋嘅國際學生。如果去到我哋嘅寄宿家庭嘅話咧，個學生自己係會有一個房間，有一個書台，同埋咧寄宿家庭咧係會有一日咧提供3餐嘅。咁但係咧國際學生係需要學習搭巴士咧去返學嘅。關於監護人啦，如果中學生嘅話咧，我哋所有嘅中學生嘅家長咧必須咧係委託一位咧向溫哥華住或者係大溫地區住嘅一個成年人，要年滿25歲嘅成年人咧去照顧學生啦，係確保學生嘅住宿啦同埋其他生活嘅所需啦，包括飲食衣物同埋交通各方面咧都可以得到妥善嘅安排嘅。而中學生亦都必須要咧係有同一個成年人一齊住。呢個成年人可以係寄宿家長或者咧係佢嘅親戚，或者咧係佢陪讀嘅父母都可以。至於小學生咧就比較嚴格啦，我哋溫哥華學校局咧只接受小學生咧係13歲以下嘅學生咧係佢有家長嚟陪讀嘅，或者佢係有直系親屬係有血緣關係嘅，譬如外公外婆姑媽舅父之類係有直系血緣關係嘅直系親屬一齊住，我哋先會接受小學生嘅。至於如果小學生嘅家長話我個小朋友今年讀完中一讀完6年班，想中一過嚟讀，中一其實就係我哋小學嘅最後1年7年班。咁咧如果係小學生嘅話咧係需要家長陪讀嘅。如果想送個小學生過嚟讀書而安排家庭寄宿嘅話咧，就我哋就唔可以接受咯。要等到佢13歲讀8年班先可以安排家庭寄宿。咁我哋溫哥華學校局咧，依家真係仲係接受緊咧9月份嘅開學嘅學生嘅。咁我哋咧我哋個學校局咧係採取咧學期制，即係 semester system， 分2個學期。第一個學期咧就係9月至1月，第二個學期咧就2月至6月。有啲家長可能話9月已經太趕啦，我想遲少少嚟可以。我哋咧就亦都依家已經可以接受咧2023年2月，即係我哋嚟緊呢一年第2個學期申請嘅新學生嘅申請嘅。申請嘅手續咧係好簡單嘅啫，可以經過我哋 SkyReach 嘅同事咧網上申請嘅。咁我哋需要嘅資料咧就係佢過去2年學校嘅成績，再加埋佢今年上學期嘅成績。通常如果咧係我哋收到佢complete 嘅 application 咧，大約2個星期咧，我哋就會去通知家長咧係我哋收生嘅結果，邊個學生去邊間學校啦，要交幾多學費啦，邊一日之前咧要交學費啦。咁啲資料大約都係2個星期以內咧就可以通知到各位家長啦。咁申請學生簽證當然咧就係經過我哋 SkyReach 嘅同事咧幫手。咁錄取嘅準則咧就係我哋按照學生嘅整體嘅學業成績而決定嘅，亦都要視乎我哋學校每間學校嘅國際學生嘅學位而決定可唔可以收個學生。好似依家咁，我哋可能有幾間學校咧就已經滿咗啦。咁但係因為我哋溫哥華學校局咧係有好多學校嘅，咁所以咧仲有好多其他嘅學校都仲可以接受國際學生申請嘅。咁咧就因為咧依家學位咧其實咧都幾有限啦，咁希望咧就家長咧係盡早申請啦，或者係考慮咧申請2023年2月都可以嘅。咁我哋喺2022年至23年嘅學費咧就係申請費咧就係250蚊加幣，醫療保健咧係1100蚊，學費咧係15500蚊。咁全部咧大約係16000幾蚊就可以咧係交付晒所有1年嘅學校要繳付嘅費用。咁至於家庭寄宿嘅話咧，我頭先講過啦， 係我哋經過 Langley College 啦。咁但係因為疫情嘅關係咧，我哋咧仲有好多大約8至10間嘅公司咧，可以幫我哋嘅學生咧申請安排寄宿家庭嘅。咁亦都可能就需要盡早申請啦。學校嘅選擇咧就係我哋溫哥華嘅學校咧就係冇 ranking system 嘅。可能咧，如果大家家長咧喺網上咧見到一啲咧排名咧，都係一啲私人嘅research company 咧去做嘅一啲research 嚟嘅。咁所以咧，本地學生咧就按照佢住嘅地址，然之後我哋將成個溫哥華市咧分成唔同嘅小區。咁個學生咧，如果喺自己嘅小區讀書咧，我哋就會編佢翻去佢個區翻學嘅。咁但係因為國際學生咧冇一個固定、冇一個永久喺加拿大嘅地址，咁所以咧，我哋又可以俾國際學生咧係隨意選擇3間學校咧係寫喺佢個申請表格上面嘅。咁我哋咧就按照學生嘅意願咧，幫佢編排入學，亦都要視乎佢揀嗰啲學校咧，佢申請嘅時候有冇位咧。如果有位嘅咧，我哋盡可能咧都會編佢去佢選擇嘅學校嘅。至於小學咧就已經額滿啦，咁所以咧今年9月入學嘅小學咧，我哋依家咧就已經全面滿額，所以咧就不能再接受小學生嘅申請啦。咁連班嘅編排咧，我哋溫哥華嘅學校咧就係只分小學同中學嘅啫。小學咧就係幼稚園至7年班，中學咧就8年班至12年班。咁我哋按照年齡編班嘅，5歲咧就入幼稚園，12歲咧就讀完我哋小學，就小學畢業，到13歲咧就會升去我哋嘅中學讀8年班，讀到17歲咧就應該讀完12年班㗎啦。咁課程嘅安排咧，如果國際學生咧，如果本地學生咧，就大約咧6月嘅時候咧，每一個學生咧都會見佢個 counselor 幫佢我哋叫 schedule 一個 timetable 就幫佢編排出年下一個學期嘅時間表。至於國際學生嘅話咧，我哋咧就會佢申請咗之後嘅幾個星期咧，我哋就會俾啲資料佢咧，俾佢喺網上做一個我哋叫做 assessment test， 就係一個測驗，就係測驗評估個學生嘅英文同埋數學嘅水平嘅。咁咧，然之後攞咗嗰啲資料之後咧，我哋咧就會連埋個學生喺香港嘅成績表同埋佢嘅 assessment test result 啦，就係佢嗰個評估試嘅成績咧，就會送俾我哋嘅學校個老師。因為我哋呢一邊咧個學校咧就係6月尾咧就會結束，7月同8月咧係放暑假嘅。咁所以咧，我哋會預先將國際學生嘅成績咧，大約咧5月嘅時候咧就會送俾佢我哋俾佢個學生入讀嘅學校嘅 counselor 嘅顧問老師。咁個顧問老師咧就會預先按照學生嘅資料咧，就預先幫佢 schedule 一個我哋叫 tentative timetable， 一個盡量幫佢編一個暫時嘅時間表。咁咧，如果國際學生咧個英文水平咧個英文水平未達標嘅話咧，其實我哋嘅學校咧嘅英文咧係分3等級嘅。第一咧就係 ELL， 即係以前講嘅 ESL English as a Second Language， 咁我哋依家咧就叫做 English Language Learners Program ELL。第2個等級咧就叫 Transitional English， 第3咧就 Regular English。Regular English 咧就係英文10班、11班、12班。咁 Transitional English 咧就係響 ELL 同埋普通英文嘅中間嘅。咁咧香港嘅學生一般咧，以我哋嘅經驗咧，都可以入到 Transitional English。有啲咧可能直接都係可以讀到英文第10班。咁亦都係要睇下佢喺我哋個測驗評估試裏面嘅表現，而我哋決定個學生需唔需要讀 ELL 或者 Transitional English。咁我哋編班咧就係上學期讀四科，下學期讀4科。咁如果學生嘅英文水平唔達標嘅話咧，可能佢4科裏面咧會有1-2科咧讀 ELL 或者讀 Transitional English， 再加埋佢一啲普通嘅 academic program， 即係可能第10班啊、11班嘅課程。咁然之後咁樣幫佢安排嘅。咁咧就如果18歲或者以上嘅學生咧，我哋咧係有成人高中可以接受比較年長嘅學生啦，係喺我哋嗰度啦係讀中學嘅。咁但係咧，我哋嘅課程咧有啲 IB program 或者 mini school 咧，就只係限於接受我哋本地學生申請嘅啫。咁國際因為咧名額有限咧，我哋就唔可以接受我哋嘅國際學生。咁咧我哋每年咧都有 獎學金咧係提供俾我哋嘅國際學生啦，一年咧大約咧都有20個學生係攞到我哋嘅獎學金，由250蚊加幣至到2500蚊加幣不等。咁咧就係我哋嘅國際學生咧，就係如果係就讀嘅時候咧，就係由我哋響本校嘅老師咧係去提名佢響佢間學校優秀嘅學生咧去攞我哋嘅獎學金嘅。咁咧響2021年6月嘅時候咧，我哋響香港嚟嘅學生咧 ，Cherry 咧就攞到我哋2500蚊嘅國際學生嘅獎學金啦。咁所以我分享呢個同大家家長係分享鼓勵下大家嘅。咁咧我今日咧嘅 PowerPoint 咧就結束啦。咁如果咧大家有家長咧有問題嘅話咧，依家咧就係一個問答嘅環節。咁家長咧可以開咗你個咪咧問我可以即場解答嘅。
好，唔該晒 Iris。咁咧我哋有幾條問題，其實係已經有幾條問題入咗嚟㗎啦。咁咧就首先咧，咁就係。咁首先咧有位家長咧就問啊，咁啊如果家長已經係申請緊 study permit 嘅話，咁啊想帶埋小朋友過去，咁使唔使喺個 study permit 度要即係要寫埋個小朋友啊 before applying high school， 定係可以唔擺佢先，跟住然後之後再做翻啊咁樣？
佢個 study permit 即係佢未申請我哋嘅學校，但係申請緊 study permit 嘅意思係？
佢 send 俾我咧，佢就話the parent is applying for study permit 啦，即係已經係申請緊啦咁樣。
個家長自己準備去嗰邊讀書。係，
我相信係啦。咁需唔需要喺個？如果
家長喺嗰邊讀書嘅話咧，呢個情況咧就比較不一樣，因為咧要視乎個家長讀乜嘢啦。咁咧如果個家長讀嘅課程咧，即係我講緊我哋 Vancouver School Board 啦。如果家長讀嘅課程咧，佢要睇下我哋溫哥華學校局咧有另外一個部門叫做 Newcomer Welcome Centre， 簡稱 NWC。咁佢要問清楚 NWC 家長讀嗰個課程合唔合乎我哋溫哥華學校局嘅資格，去令到個學生可以享受到免費教育，即係中小學嗰個讀中小學嘅學齡嘅學生。如果咧佢讀嘅課程唔合乎規格嘅話咧，佢係個學生係需要交學費嘅。咁變咗咧，如果學生要交學費嘅話咧，就要預先同我哋 Skyreach 嘅同事聯絡，要報讀我哋嘅課程，攞埋我哋個學生嘅 LOA 先至可以幫個學生申請個學生簽證。要離開香港之前，家長同埋學生都要有學生簽證先可以過去。咁你話去到先至報嘅話咧，咁可能就要視乎我哋學校仲有冇學位啦，因為我哋已經開晒學㗎啦。阿 John 係咪咁啊？
明白，好，係 OK。咁咧有第二個問題啦，咁樣。咁咧我估計咧都解答咗部分佢嘅問題。咁但係好老實講啦，都要視乎佢嘅唔同嘅情況啦，即係佢依家係申請緊讀啲咩嘢啊，或者係佢嘅計劃，成個家庭嘅計劃係點樣樣啦。咁可能我哋稍後再問佢攞多少少資料先至又再確實啲俾到個意見嚟嘅，係啦。咁係啦。咁但係咧，我哋有另外嘅問題啊。咁咧就係睇下先。問題咧就話有個家長啦，佢小朋友咧計劃去溫哥華讀書嘅。咁啊而家係 Grade 8啦，咁啊下年就 Grade 9，跟住之後咧佢諗住計劃係完成 Grade 9係過溫哥華嘅。咁佢就問其實啲 credit 係咪都會 transfer 得到咧？ transfer credit 係個情況會點樣做咧？
我唔需要擔心嘅。嗱，因為咧如果個小朋友咧年紀咁細嘅話咧，係唔計 credit 嘅。我哋如果咧係計中學畢業嘅資格咧，我哋係 BC 省政府嘅要求咧係計10年班至12年班，要攞到80個 credit。咩叫 credit 咧？就係佢合格一科50分或以上，嗰科合格咧就攞到4個 credit。換句話講咧，係由中學最後3年10年班至12年班咧要合格20科。咁20科裏面有一啲咧就必修科，有啲就選修科。咁咧到時我諗阿 John 佢哋可以同大家解釋下我哋 BC 省中學畢業嘅要求。咁你頭先解答頭先個家長咧，就因為佢係8年班升讀9年班，呢2年嘅學分都唔會計算 去讀中學畢業嘅資格，所以咧我哋係唔計 credit 嘅。我哋嘅成績表其實8年班同9年班嘅成績表嘅 format 咧，同埋10至12年班嘅成績表嘅 format 都唔係好一樣嘅，因為有啲係唔需要升學分。
明白，可能咧，因為其實個家長都做緊啲資料搜集啦。因為其實咧，即係我哋了解嘅咧係安省咧，其實9年班就開始計 credit 啦。咁但係咧各位家長咧，我哋都要同你講翻啦。咁BC 省嗱加拿大咧一開始其實Iris 都有介紹過啦。咁可能我可以再講多少少啦。咁其實加拿大咧各個省份咧，佢哋嗰個教育局都唔同嘅。佢哋各個省份嘅教育制度啊，佢哋考嘅嘢啊，要求啊，各樣都唔同。咁溫哥華咧，其實係9年班先可以計，即係10年班先開始計 credit 嘅。咁同安省會有少少唔同。咁如果你話佢即係擔心好老實講啦，如果擔心嗰個 credit 係transfer唔到嘅，即係你又未揀一定係 BC 定係安省咧，
溫哥華就得㗎啦。
係啦，咁第一你可以揀溫哥華啦。咁第二就係咧，如果你擔心你嘅 credit 係未必 transfer 到咧，咁你只要繼續維持佢嘅成績係全部合格以上咧，相信你去任何嘅省份都冇乜問題。咁但係如果你成張成績表唔合格嘅話咧，安省就會有啲問題啦。咁BC 省咧都如果你成張成績表唔合格，其實啲學校都好難收你。咁所以咧，其實都係 keep 住個成績係合格啦。咁呢個係好多加拿大嘅 school board 嘅基本要求嚟嘅，咁樣係啦。咁佢仲有個問題嘅，佢就話咧小朋友嘅哥哥，即係佢大仔啦。咁其實依家喺溫哥華讀緊大學嘅。咁小朋友如果過嚟讀中學，可唔可以揾佢哥哥做即係監護人，或者係住喺佢阿哥度啊咁樣樣？
係啦，呢一個就係好多香港家長嘅問題。哥哥一定要25歲，佢讀緊大學或者做嘢都得，一定要25歲或以上。但係如果未到25歲咧就唔得啦，你一定要揾個親戚或者朋友去照顧佢。即係細嗰個中學嗰個細仔，亦都唔可以單獨同哥哥一齊住，因為哥哥未夠25歲。我哋唔當佢係一個成人，即係佢 provide 唔到我哋叫adult supervision。咁所以咧就變咗一定要等哥哥25歲。咁之後可能佢哋讀咗2年啦，哥已經25歲啦，就可以搬去同阿哥住，兩個一齊住。
明白。咁即係話，其實如果哥哥未夠25歲咧，其實佢都係要揾一個25歲以上嘅監護人啦，同埋同嗰個監護人一齊同住啦。咁就唔可以去阿哥度住，或者阿哥唔可以做監護人。
係啦，或者揾一個 adult， 即係25歲或者以上，同佢哋兩個一齊住。
OK， 明白。即係或者簡單啲嚟講啦，如果係有譬如阿叔或者係阿爺阿嫲係同阿哥一齊住嘅，咁就可以啦。
係啦，係冇錯。
OK， 明白。好，咁咧啱啱咧個家長咧亦都有問啦，咁就即係 graduation requirement 啊 ，Vancouver 係咪同 Ontario similar 啦？其實咧我都可能呢度咧都代 Iris 答啦。若或多或少都係啊。咁成個加拿大咧唔計 Quebec 啦，咁其實都係要求一啲譬如你要有英文啊、數學啊，可能11或者12年班嘅 science 啊，咁計學分啊咁樣。咁只不過咧嗰個 table， 即係你點計法，計幾多年，點樣砌法咧係有少少唔同。咁但係咧大同小異嘅，即係你 once 你掌握咗一個 school board 咧，其實第二個都係唔係好大出入嘅啫。咁但係我想問一問 Iris， 咁其實喺嗰個考試嗰度啦，咁我知道BC 同安省咧就有少少唔同啊，或者會唔會可以都講一講即係考試嗰個情況？係。
我哋依家 BC 省冇考試嘅，其實唔需要再考試㗎啦。係啦，我哋已經取消咗考試嚇，但係咧改咗叫乜嘢咧？我哋唔係叫 provincial exam 嘅意思咧，就係我哋會可能揀幾間，即係好似香港考公開試咁，你去一個地點排咗好多台，咁個個一齊去嗰度考，或者大家都唔係同一間學校。咁我哋依家咧呢一種形式嘅考試已經冇咗啦。咁依家需要畢業嘅要求咧，就係喺學校有3個，佢哋叫有3個 test 啦，可以叫做3個 exam。咁咧就係佢哋叫 literacy 10、literacy 12同埋numeracy 10。咁即係咧等於其實就係英文10班、英文12班同埋數學10班，係要喺學校考嘅。 咁學校咧就唔係話一年一次嘅，佢可能咧你嗰一年讀嘅時候，你覺得已經 ready 啦，你就同老師講我想去報。咁佢一年可能有多過一次嘅時間咧，咁佢可以去喺學校裡面咧考㗎。咁我學校要考呢3個試嘅啫。咁咧就個形式係有我知咧就係有時咧佢會喺 computer 度考嘅。咁咧就考咗3個試咧就得㗎啦。咁即係話咧學校嘅成績表係咩意思咧？就係佢喺學校攞幾多分就會入咗去省政府嗰個資料庫，就係等於佢嘅分數。以前就有省市咧就加埋省市啲分攞一個平均數，就係個學生嘅成績。依家咧就全部都係學校嘅成績咧，就係佢個 transcript 上面嘅成績㗎啦。因為即係我哋每間學校咧有一個咧，我哋叫 record spread 嘅。咁個學生咧考完一個測驗，咁咧我哋咧係有同事咧將佢啲成績咧打入個電腦度，個電腦咧直接輸入咗去我哋佢一個 system 叫做MyBC， 咁係成個 BC 省嘅一個教育系統嚟。咁入咗上咗去之後咧，學校嘅成績就係上咗去嘅，因為打咗去個 system。咁以前就要計埋個省市，依家就唔需要計省市。
OK， 明白。好，咁咧就相信咧就解答咗各位家長啦。好，咁咧我哋答多我哋答多2個問題啦，因為咧我哋都仲有少少問題，咁Iris嘅時間都差唔多，係答多2個問題。係，咁咧首先咧就有個家長咧就話佢個朋友嘅小朋友，咁咧就而家咧就 take 緊一啲 Ontario E School 嘅第10班嘅 credit 啦。咁Ontario Grade 10嘅 credit 可唔可以 transfer 到去溫哥華咧？咁我相信係 yes 嘅，咁啊幫你答咗佢啦。係，咁咧係，咁跟住嗰2個問題啦。咁咧早前咧咁就有個家長問關於嗰個，如果家長係申請個 study permit，咁佢就話咧家長咧係會讀2年制嘅 diploma 嘅，會讀2年制嘅 diploma 嘅。咁其實係咪都係同班係啦？
係咩科？要知道咩科啊？佢話美容 diploma 咁啊唔得啦，或者做廚師 diploma 又唔得啦。
哦 ，OK， 咁啊詳細都係同翻當局去睇下嗰個 program 係咪可以俾小朋友免費教育啦。
係啦，其實最緊要咧就我諗阿 John 你哋公司幫一幫佢咧，就同我哋 NWC 聯絡，將佢家長讀嘅課程，即係大約嘅課程咧，就 email 去 NWC， 佢就會 confirm。其實唔係我哋國際教育部 confirm 嘅 ，NWC confirm 咗之後咧，如果佢個學生要經過我哋國際部申請嘅話咧，佢就會話俾你聽，你聯絡國際部呢個小朋友要經過我哋國際部申請先得。咁樣。
OK， 明白。
咁如果佢話 OK approve 咧，佢就直接 NWC 幫佢登記㗎啦，咁就唔關我哋事。咁咧嗰陣時阿 John 你就可以話俾家長聽，直接去揾我另外嗰部門。
明白。咁所以其實咧就簡單啲嚟講咧，就係叫佢揾NWC 啦。咁啊睇下佢個 program 係咪 eligible for 呢個免費教育啦。咁如果係得嘅，咁 NWC 會幫佢搞啦。如果係唔得嘅話咧，咁就 either 佢小朋友就去 international education 呢一邊俾錢讀書啦，或者可能等佢讀完之後攞咗 PR 先至過去免費教育啦。我可唔可以咁理解？
都可以咁理解嘅，
係啦，即係你一係就唔好過去住，等到你正式攞到 PR， 咁啊小朋友肯定免費啦。咁一係咧就小朋友就俾錢讀，呢個就係如果你嗰個 program 係NWC 唔 approve 俾你小朋友免費教育。咁如果 approve 嘅，咁啊免費教育啦，咁就NWC 就會同你繼續處理嗰個入學嗰個小朋友嘅入學嘅申請啦。咁我哋呢邊 international 咧就都做唔到啲乜嘢啦，咁樣。
咁如果即係佢真係免費嘅話咧，其實家長申請咗簽證之後，就咁帶埋即係個家人一齊過去，然之後去到 NWC， 佢就話俾佢聽唔使其他人係唔使預先申請學生簽證。OK，
咁即係其實喺學生簽證度，其實 mention 翻話佢有個小朋友咁樣，咁會一齊過去嘅，咁但係就唔需要小朋友獨立申請學生簽證，就唔需要。
係啦，冇錯。
明白，好，非常之清晰。好，咁咧就 好，關於 Vancouver School Board 嘅問題咧，如果大家都仲有其他問題關於 Vancouver School Board 嘅，咁你可以 WhatsApp 個問題俾我哋啦，因為 Iris 嘅時間都差唔多啦，係啦，咁啊你可以 WhatsApp 個問題問我哋啦，咁我哋會將你個問題整理咗之後咧，問完 Iris 咧會喺 WhatsApp 嗰度 feedback 翻俾你啦，又或者如果你想之後想同 Vancouver School Board 再有一啲嘅interview 嘅 session 嘅，咁我哋可以同你約個時間同阿 Iris 去做一啲嘅 one-to-one 嘅 session。咁啊時間上面咧，可能都係香港嘅晨早啦，或者係即係要就翻加拿大嗰邊嘅時間，咁啊可能係7-8點朝早啊9點頂到盡咁樣，咁都係相信都 OK 嘅。咁啊又或者係即係睇下大家個時間點樣就啦。好，咁咧就Iris 你有冇其他嘢你想同家長 share 或者補充？
我就想同大家講咧，溫哥華其實係一個好好嘅城市嚟嘅，同埋咧，我想話俾你聽咧 ，Vancouver 嘅學生咧，有我哋學校局嘅學生咧，係超過90%都係本地學生嚟嘅。不過 Vancouver 嘅學生咧，大部分咧都講超過2至3個語言。咁所以你嚟到咧，你見到佢可能識講中文啊，或者日文啊，第二個 language， 其實英文係佢哋嘅 mother language。呢一個咧係好多家長咧係睇唔到，因為你要同啲學生傾偈先知嘅。咁所以咧係我哋呢度係可以學到好好嘅英文嘅，因為我哋ELL 嘅 infrastructure 係好好嘅。咁咧再一次多謝大家參加聽我哋溫哥華學校局嘅宣明會啦。我好希望咧盡快咧可以去到香港同大家見面。如果唔係嘅話咧，請你大家咧可以過嚟溫哥華咧，我哋好歡迎你過嚟呢邊嘅。多謝晒。好，多謝晒 Iris，thank you。
唔該晒 Iris，thank you，拜拜。
拜拜。
OK，thank you Iris。好，咁好多謝晒 Iris。咁如果係啦，即係咁講啊，如果大家有其他問題，你想問我哋關於Vancouver School Board 嘅事情嘅，咁咧歡迎你將個問題作低，咁然後我哋幫你轉交俾 Iris 啦。或者其他 Vancouver 嘅同事，咁然後咧就會幫你哋解答嘅。咁接下落嚟咧就到Burnaby District 嘅 Richard 啦。So for now, let's welcome Richard from Burnaby to introduce a little bit on Burnaby School Board and also what's happening there in Burnaby. Okay, thank you. So Richard, I'll pass you the time now.
Thank you very much, John. And thank you for inviting me to this session this evening or this morning for you. I know it's almost lunchtime there, and thank you everybody for coming out on your Saturday and spending your time with us. I'm very pleased today to tell you about Burnaby School District and the city of Burnaby. My name is Richard Payne. As John introduced, I am the Assistant Marketing Manager for the district. And Skyreach is one of our recruitment partners in Hong Kong, and they will be happy to assist you apply to Burnaby. So the Burnaby School District, similar to Vancouver and Langley, we are a district, so all of the public schools in the city are under the management of the district. So we've been around as long as the city of Burnaby, established in 1906. We are funded by the government and Ministry of Education accredited. We're a trustworthy provider of high quality education and inclusive modern education. So we do run a large international program in Burnaby. We have students from over 50 countries. We run a full comprehensive ELL program, which is ESL, more commonly known as ESL. And we have an excellent international support team, including support staff in all of our high schools, specifically to take care of international students. So we have 8 secondary schools or high schools, and I'll briefly introduce you to a few of those. And we have 41 elementary schools in our district. So first, Burnaby. Burnaby is in a lovely location. It's in the heart of the Metro Vancouver city area. It's close to the US border. So the closest US city to us would be Seattle. And we're not far from the international airport. And Vancouver is the largest port in Canada, and it's kind of the connection point with Asia and has a very special relationship with Hong Kong. Our city is convenient. It has a very diverse city life, great shopping, great restaurants, services, facilities, good transportation, and it is a beautiful place. We're surrounded by beautiful mountains, the ocean. This lake that you see right here is actually in the city of Burnaby. You can see it's full of parks and natural beauty. And we have great education institutions in our city as well. The University of Simon Fraser University is the main campus is in Burnaby. Also, British Columbia Institute of Technology, which is Canada's best technical institute, is in Burnaby. And of course, we have others like UBC, which is just on the west side of Vancouver, very close to us. So one big selling point of Burnaby is that it is convenient. And by that, I mean there's good public transportation. And if you live somewhere like Hong Kong, you may take that for granted because you're in a very tight city and the public transit is excellent. I love getting around Hong Kong on the subway. It's so cheap and convenient, but not everywhere in Canada is like that. So you really have to go to a major city area to get good public transportation in Canada. And if you are a high school student, living, without your parents in Canada, then you really rely on that public transportation. You won't be driving a car. So there is a SkyTrain that goes around, kind of up from the airport. It goes a little bit down into Richmond, up to downtown Vancouver. Oops, sorry. Loops around Burnaby. It goes a little bit down into Surrey. It is actually, they are planning to build an extension all the way out to Langley in the future. And it goes a little bit up into Coquitlam. And of course, there's buses running around the whole Metro Vancouver area. And our students buy a Compass card like this. I believe it's still about $57 per month for students. And that's unlimited ridership. So that's very convenient. And it kind of makes for a safer situation, and it allows you to access the community more and access the all the wonderful things that there are to do in the schools. So first, I'll just tell you a little bit about our high schools. And I think this, you could say the same is true for Vancouver and Langley as well. All of our high schools are very, very well funded, and they have excellent facilities. So at a typical high school, you would find like an outdoor playing field, a soccer field, and a track, sometimes a baseball diamond. There will be 2 indoor gymnasiums, cafeteria, library, computer labs, both Mac and PC. There will be science laboratories. There will be technical classrooms where they do things like woodworking, drafting, metalwork, robotics, automotive. There will be theaters and theater programs. There will be music rooms with highly developed music programs. There will be dance studios, lots of things like that. So these schools are big, and along with that comes a lot of great facilities and a variety of options and elective courses and school clubs. So they're very dynamic schools, and there's not enough time to talk to you about all of those details today. But SkyReach will be happy to tell you about more of those things, and I'm happy to answer any questions. One thing that's a bit unique at Burnaby is we have the largest advanced placement program in Canada. Advanced placement is a lot like IB. It's a little bit different. IB, if you're familiar with IB, is a program where you do the full diploma program. It's kind of an all or nothing thing. It's a great program, and you can get university credit for doing it. AP, so IB is Swiss, and AP was developed in the United States, College Board in the 1950s. And so we have AP courses in all of our high schools. We have the AP capstone program in 2 of our largest high schools. And the neat thing about AP is that you don't have to take it as a program. You can take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 courses if you are a student who is excelling academically. So we usually have about the top 15% of students will take at least 1 AP course. And they are marked on a 5-point scale. Usually if you get 4 or above, universities will give you credit for that. And so we don't charge extra for AP courses. So in a way, it's kind of like getting a scholarship. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Burnaby, a couple of different centers within Burnaby, because it's a fairly large city, and I'll show you some schools in different parts of Burnaby. I won't show them all to you, A, because some of them are closed at this point for fall. Some of them are already full, and B, just because there's not time. But just to give you an idea, this first area we'll look at is called the Brentwood Center, and this is on the Vancouver side in the northwest. And this is an area where they're building a lot of new apartment buildings, and we have 2 schools in this area, Alpha and North. So Burnaby North, this is actually our oldest school, and we are very excited because they are building a brand new school right now. So the new Burnaby North is scheduled to open January 2023, so this coming January. So it's going to be beautiful. It's already an excellent school with a great academic reputation. They do have the AP capstone program. They actually have a marching band, which is very unusual these days. A really excellent music program, and an excellent business program. This is a large school, so we do have students from this school every year going to the most prestigious universities in both Canada and the United States. The next area I want to show you is called Metrotown Center. And this is an area where there's a great big shopping mall. I think it's still the 2nd largest shopping center in Canada. And this is also on the west side of Burnaby in the south. And there's a couple of schools in this area. You could say Mosscrop is in this area. Mosscrop is right beside BCIT. And Burnaby South and Burn Creek. So Burnaby South, this is also, Burnaby North and Burnaby South are our 2 largest schools. This one is also home to the AP capstone program. You can see there's a really, really beautiful theater here, which is, I mean, it's unusual to have a theater this beautiful in a high school, but this was actually built with donated money from a very famous alumni from our school. Michael J. Fox, if you've ever seen Back to the Future, he was a graduate of Burnaby. And this school has a working television production studio, an indoor track, and it's a really excellent school. And this is probably our most convenient school for the students. It's just a 4-minute walk from SkyTrain station. Burn Creek Secondary School has a highly developed dance program. They have a beautiful science lab. And this school is often ranked #1 for student satisfaction. They're about a 12-minute walk from the SkyTrain station. And this area of town is just really starting to develop now. So there's a lot of plans for this area. Lastly, I'll take you over to the Lougheed Center area, and this is on the east side of Burnaby, next to Simon Fraser University, and to the east of us would be Coquitlam. And so we have a couple of schools in this area. I'm going to show you Burnaby Mountain. Actually, I was just here the other day, and it is a beautiful school. It's in a good neighborhood. It's got a great academic reputation. Actually, to give you an idea, the grade 12 graduating class here in the 2020-2021 graduating class won almost $1 million in scholarships to universities. And they actually have a unique soccer skills academy with Simon Fraser University Athletics. So that's pretty interesting. And by the way, all of our schools, of course, have all the major sports, but that one's different. It's a special academy. And this is just a 10-minute walk from the SkyTrain station. So that's a beautiful school. Iris mentioned that they work with Langara College Homestay. So yes, so Langara College provides the homestay. They're the homestay partner for both Burnaby and Vancouver school districts. It is a large city, so there are many wonderful homestay companies to work with, and SkyReach will of course help you with that if that is needed. Although many people from Hong Kong have family and friends in the area, and so of course you can, if you know people, of course that might be an opportunity to live with them, and that's wonderful. So homestay families, it's the public schools, we don't have dormitories. There's an opportunity to stay with a Canadian or with a local family, and of course you have your own room, and they provide 3 meals a day, and it's just like living with a family. And you will get to, it just depends. Every family is different. You might be within walking distance. You might be a bus ride or a train ride away from the school. But I will tell you, in the last 2 years, homestays have been in short supply, and that's for various reasons. And one of those reasons being that during the pandemic, when many people moved to work from home or in a hybrid work setting, they actually changed one of the spare rooms in their house into an office. So, we lost a lot of rooms. But that's one of our challenges right now is homestay, and our homestay partner is full for September. There may be some other homestay companies that have space, so that's something to keep in mind for September. But again, SkyReach can help you with that. I will also briefly mention our international elementary program, because this year actually we have more people from Hong Kong than ever coming to our elementary program. So I thought I'd just briefly mention that as well. So for us in Burnaby, we don't have middle schools, so we have elementary as kindergarten to grade 7, and then our secondary schools are grade 8 to 12. And so when you're coming for high school, it goes on basically on the grade you completed in Hong Kong, and we do like a credit transfer. When you come into elementary, it's strictly by age. It doesn't matter what grade you were in Hong Kong. It goes by age here. So we have 41 elementary schools around the district, around the city. They are all excellent. Myself and any of my colleagues would be more than happy to have our kids in any of our schools. It is a little bit different process in terms of placing students in elementary. If you apply for a high school, I can tell you yes or no, we have space there immediately on the letter of offer. With elementary school, we do the placements later. And so we ask clients to be flexible about which elementary school. We do give you 3 choices, but and we try to get your choice of school if we can, but it doesn't always happen. So we need to have some flexibility there. And in high school, when you come, we assess your English, and based on that assessment, we may or may not need to put the students in ELL. And if they are in ELL for high school students, it is actually a separate program. And so they are doing academic courses, some academic courses at the same time, and they have dedicated ELL classes as well. Unless, of course, their English is already proficient, that they can go straight into a full academic schedule. Elementary school is different. There's not a separate ESL program, although in Burnaby, because we are an area of high immigration and newcomers to Canada, there is English as a second language support in every elementary school. So we do the same way, we assess the students, but it's basically to tell us the level of support they need. But it is an immersion approach, which means the students are in class with all of the local students from day one. But they are supported. Sometimes the ELL teacher is in the class together with them, or sometimes they might pull the student out for some one-on-one or small group sessions. So there is support, added support there, but it's a different experience. It's more of full immersion from day one, I would say. And if you are bringing your child, oh, that's the other thing for elementary, we do require a parent, at least from grade 1 to 5, we require a parent. Grade 6, we allow a blood relative, not just like friend who is called auntie, but actual relative. The child can live with a relative. Or grade 7, we allow homestay, but it's a little bit hard to find a homestay placement for grade 7. So usually elementary is always coming with mom or mom and dad or dad. And yeah, I just like to say that, you know, be open to a different way of learning. You know, it's probably quite different than school in Hong Kong, but that's part of the reason why you're coming to experience education in a different place. So I think you will, your child will enjoy learning in Burnaby, but they do need to, of course, put the effort in here too. And I hope I wrapped that up quick enough, and I don't want to run into my my colleague's time in Langley, Miss Ming. But thank you for listening. I'd be happy to take any questions if you have.
Yes, thank you, Richard, for your time. And we'll now take some questions and answer session for Burnaby. If you got any questions, you can, you know, type your message here, and Richard can answer them personally. And 係啦，咁各位家長啊，如果你對 Burnaby 呢個校區有興趣嘅話咧，咁其實咧可以留言啦、chat box 啦、WhatsApp 啦，我哋啦問題啦，咁然後我哋可以直接問 Richard 嘅。係啦，咁值得一提嘅咧係其實 Burnaby 區咧都好多新嘅condo 啦起啦，咁而且係走過嚟香港賣啦，咁如果你係諗住買咗Burnaby 校區咁絕對可以揾Richard， 咁一個非常之方便即係家長即係 settle 同埋有新樓賣嘅一個區域嚟嘅。So Richard, I'm just talking about that there are a lot of new condos built around the SkyTrain area in Burnaby. So if you know students or well, not students, but if parents you know eventually bought a property there, Burnaby is a very good and welcoming district to you know welcome newcomers as well. And
yes.
Surprisingly, well, I say surprisingly or not surprisingly, many of the pictures are with many new builds. It's a very lovely place.
Yeah, so it's particularly that Brentwood area. There's many new. It's one of the largest building developments, or at least that's what they were saying a couple of years ago. One of the largest building developments in North America. So, yeah, there's a lot of new high-rise buildings going in there. Which I think people from Hong Kong are quite comfortable with high-rise, tall buildings, beautiful views. Yeah, so it is a very welcoming place to live. It's very diverse. It's you know it's clean. It's a good life there. So yeah, I think people will feel very comfortable there. It's very high quality education in the public school district.
Okay, so Richard, I've got a question from a parent. So she asked, is doing French necessary in BC education system?
Yeah, so certainly the local students do. They usually start from grade 6, I believe. They start French, and we have some schools that are French immersion, but even with the French immersion schools, there's the kids studying in English and the kids studying in French. So French is kind of more treated like an elective subject. Now for our international kids coming in, they may take that opportunity as time to pull them aside to give them extra support with their English, right? We want to focus on that first. If students are coming in at high school, we actually give them transfer credit for their mother language. So we can give transfer credit for Cantonese, right? So they don't have to take French. So if they are coming in at grade 10, we can give them like transfer credit for, Cantonese 10, 11, 12. So they don't need to study French. It's kind of too much. So sometimes when a student first comes to us, we teach a lot of languages in the district, Spanish, Mandarin, Japanese. So there's lots of choice. And sometimes students are excited to take on a third or a fourth language. But we like to make sure that their English is at a manageable level for them first before we allow them to start taking on any other languages.
Okay, so it's no, it's not a must, but if students would like to enroll FSL, French is a second language, they can do so. But your suggestion is that for international students, your primary focus is English first.
Definitely. And if they're coming at high school, it is harder for somebody coming from Hong Kong, if they're interested to learn French, for them to jump into a grade 10 French class is really difficult because those kids, the other kids have already been studying French for quite a few years. So that might be difficult to catch up. Whereas if they took a introduction to Spanish grade 10 class, everybody would be beginners. So that might be a better idea to study. If they wanted to do a second language, they could choose, Italian or Mandarin or Spanish or Japanese or something like that.
Okay, so does it mean that if students coming in for, say, elementary is younger than, say, grade 6, or maybe they coming in grade 5 with parents, then the kid will need to do French?
Yeah, if they can handle it, they will allow them to do it, right? But if they are struggling with their English, they may use that as an opportunity to, pull them aside and just give them extra support with English. And it won't hold them back. We don't hold the kids back for that. Yeah.
Okay, understand. Okay, so咁咧啱啱咧Richard 都講咗啦，咁咧其實法文都唔係一定必須嘅，咁就視乎你個學習嘅情況啦，咁樣，咁希望解答到個問題。Okay, 咁我有另一個家長嘅問題。So Richard, I've got another question for Burnaby. So obviously Burnaby is one of the biggest AP provider in BC or Canada. So the parent asked, how would a student be qualified to study AP program? Do the teacher pick them, or do the student need to achieve certain results in grade 9 or 10 or 11 to achieve that, or it's just a opt-in?
It's kind of a combination of all of those things, and it's difficult to give an answer because it actually can depend on the course and on the teacher and their criteria, but essentially it has to do with academics. If a student is coming to us with very high marks and they express an interest in AP and they are already at an advanced level of English, we can try and get them in AP right off the bat. It does depend on space, but if they're coming to us earlier, yes, it's basically depends on the grades they're achieving leading up to it. Some students will take honors classes, which is a more advanced version, and try and go for AP. So usually students will take AP in grade 12, sometimes grade 11.
Okay, so this one is my extension for the parents' questions. Is so how can students manage to do like in parallel? Like for example, if they want to do AP Chemistry 2, they do grade 12 chemistry of BC as well as AP Chemistry in parallel, or do they do the BC first and then AP, or how are they going to manage it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So they are not doing AP instead of the BC high school diploma. It's an add-on, so they have to meet all their graduation requirements. That's the priority. Some AP courses are taken as an elective course. So for example, if they're in a 3D art studio AP class, that would be taken in an elective spot. But sometimes something like chemistry 12, to use your example, might be taught in tandem. It might be in the chemistry 12 class. Some of the students will also be doing the AP chemistry as well. So they'll just have a lot more work to do as well. But they will get both the credits, and they will write the AP exam at the end.
Okay, so basically they need to cover up the AP courses on extra time. I should put it that way.
Once you get into the higher grades, there is some choice, like some elective credits where you can choose by interest. And so for those students doing AP, they might choose to do their AP course of interest in their elective spots.
Okay, so just my last question is that on the AP. So so if they went into a semester school, for example, so if they do AP, is AP an extra to the BC curriculum? So for example, if they take already taking 4 subjects in one semester, if they opt in for AP, which is not relevant to their 4 subjects, so they will need to take extra class for that one?
Okay, I see. So no, it's not like they would be doing 5 subjects in that case. They would still be doing 4, but maybe 1 is AP, something like that, or 2,
okay,
or 2 of them are AP.
1.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, John, we have, as you know, like about half semester and half linear schools. So we have,
Yeah, understand. Okay, so 係啦，啱啱咧Richard 都答咗啦。咁其實咧，我可能用廣東話講少少啦，加少咗我嘅個人嘅見解啦。咁其實咧 AP 咧通常都係俾一啲老實講啦叻啲嘅學生讀嘅。個原因係因為咧你要 cover 同一個科嘅 AP， 你要 cover 多啲唔同嘅課題。咁變咗如果你本身嗰個BC 嘅 curriculum 你都未搞得掂嘅話咧，其實佢理論上就唔會俾你讀 AP 嘅，因為要讀 extra 嘅嘢。咁如果你嘅 AP 係同本身你讀緊嘢唔拉更嘅，咁咪 kind of 都係讀多一樣嘢，即係好似你讀緊6科 DSE， 跟住你再走去考1個 A level 咁樣嘅諗法啦，大概係咁樣。咁但係咧AP 咧有個好處嘅，咁好多加拿大嘅即係如果你 handle 得到嘅話啦，咁咧AP 咧係好多加拿大嘅大學咧都會可以俾你喺大學讀少啲科嘅。咁通常就係咧，如果你本身譬如咧，假設我用 DSE 做 example 啦，當如果個 DSE 本身中5已經讀晒成個 DSE 嘅 syllabus， 咁我 why not 係中6讀多個 AP 或者讀個即係 A level 嘅 subject， 再去加強翻我入大學嘅情況咧咁樣。咁呢個係一個考慮。咁但係如果你話唔係喎 DSE 已經 struggle， 咁你再懟個 AP 落去咧，咁其實就會搞唔掂嘅，係啦。咁所以咧，其實佢係一個 extra， 但係佢唔算係一個 BC 嘅 curriculum 嚟嘅，係啦。咁AP 係美國嘢嚟嘅。So Richard, I'm just trying to explain that my point of view, if they're doing well enough in their BC curriculum, and if they study the syllabus well ahead of the syllabus being taught, then why not add on an AP, because they got some free time technically. If they're already struggling in their BC curriculum, if you add on an AP, then will be extra workload, which is not preferred because it will ruin your primary study anyway. So it all depends on how they handle the subjects, and also how they study, if they can handle it basically. And one of the things I did mention as well is, if they really have this free time, or they really can handle an extra AP. AP is college accredited sometimes, not always, but many of the college accredited AP. So if they carry some AP credit into university, they can take away some university credit and do less in first year, which is a plus. And also doing AP sometimes help in applying university in the States, because it's a state thing.
Yes, and yeah, we do have a number of graduates every year that go to university in the United States. Yeah, so you're exactly right, John. If they're not doing well in school, AP is, if they're just doing okay, AP is not for them. This is for sort of the top tier of students. So the counselor, if they're struggling, counselor is not going to let them register for AP. But yeah, in British Columbia, we actually have a government site called the BC Transfer Guide. And you can actually see, you can look it up on there, for example, at UBC, all of the AP and IB, how they transfer to what courses and stuff. Yeah, so it's very well accepted.
OK， thank you Richard。係啦，咁咧呢度都解答咗大家啦。咁其實AP 除咗加拿大啦，加拿大嘅大學會睇啦，有啲美國大學都會睇嘅。咁如果佢係即係有空閒嘅時間，都可以 handle 得埋啦。咁讀都 OK。咁但係如果本身 instructor 咧，其實學校嘅 counselor 都唔俾你讀㗎啦，咁樣咯。OK， 係啦。So 咁仲有冇其他問題想問 Richard 咧？如果暫時冇嘅話咧，咁如果仲有其他問題咧，我哋都會收集咗你嘅問題啦，我哋再會問Richard 嘅。So for now, I'm just asking if there's any further questions for now, and we'll pass the time to Langley to introduce the school by Ming. If okay, sorry, just one more question for Richard. Sorry about that. So if one of the English requirements for applying university is IELTS, the student studying from grade 10 can be exempt from taking IELTS. I can answer that actually, yes. Well, to be honest, if you don't take English language art in BC, you don't get the diploma anyway. So English, you need to take English in BC curriculum, grade 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, it depends on the English level if you're taking ESL, but grade 12 English is a must to get the diploma. Well, if I'm correct, if I'm not, correct me. And if you get the grade 12 English, then you're fulfilling the English requirement for university, then you don't need to take IELTS. But it all depends on if you get a full BC transcript. If you just get an English grade 10, but you don't get enough credit, then you are not taking the full certificate or diploma, then, well, you need other subjects to complement your results anyway.
So this depends on the specific university for that requirement. But first of all, yes. So to get the BC Dogwood diploma, which is what our high school diploma is called, you do need English 10, 11, 12 to graduate. If you have a student coming from a good English language curriculum school in Hong Kong that's studied, most of their life in English, and they'd finished grade 10 in Hong Kong, we could actually give them transfer credit for English 10, but they must absolutely do English 11, 12 with us in British Columbia. And they will meet the graduation requirement. So if they're going to a smaller university, or a college like Langley or Douglas College, excellent public colleges, or a smaller public university, they will just accept whatever their English 12 requirement is. But if you're looking at, like UBC, they actually have quite a stringent requirement that they want to see students have studied in an English language curriculum for a minimum of 4 years before they will waive that IELTS requirement. So it depends on the university.
OK, sure， 係啦，咁答翻啱啱家長問題啦。咁其實咧，老實講就睇翻嗰個學生佢讀咗幾耐啦喺 BC， 咁但係其實喺 BC 讀中學咧，讀英文11、12班都係必須要嘅。咁如果你讀咗嘅話咧，我都可以答你咧，就算譬如佢第11先過去啦，咁讀咗11、12嘅英文，其實都會滿足到譬如 UBC 啊嗰啲嘅入學要求，咁唔使讀翻由第9班英文開始讀，咁就唔需要嘅。咁但係第12班英文係必須要讀嘅。咁你滿足咗呢個12班或者係 BC 嘅畢業嘅條件咧，咁其實佢就當你係一個加拿大本地嘅申請，咁就唔需要睇 IELTS 㗎啦。咁如果你係香港 DSE 嘅學生嘅話咧，你就需要考 IELTS 嘅。咁但係咧要留意嘅係有啲學科啦，咁可能唔係啱啱呢幾間嘅大學啦，我哋 come across 過有啲學校嘅學科咧，如果你係譬如揸加拿大 passport， 或者你本身香港嘅英文麻麻地啊，你 DSE 英文普通，你又冇考 IELTS 嘅話咧，佢可能都要你讀翻個英文嘅12班英文嘅，佢會睇。又或者有啲學科係如果就算 even 你有 IELTS， 佢都會睇12班嘅英文嘅，譬如一啲特別啲嘅科，譬如 nursing 啊咁樣啦，咁佢哋都會睇嘅。咁所以都要睇翻大學想讀咩嘢嘅科目啦。Sorry, Richard, I was in Cantonese, but I'm just sharing that I've actually got one case that the students study in HKDSE and IELTS and applying for practical nurse program in BC, but the school still asked them for grade 12 English, even she does process an IELTS. So I just mentioned that it all depends on which subject and which college or university they're going to. The requirement maybe varies, but it's better to check with the school and with their requirement. So this is what I just said.
Yeah, that's right. So
OK 係啦，咁希望解答到你啦。OK， 咁唔阻大家太多時間啦。如果有問題再問 Richard 咧，咁咧係可以留言俾我哋啦，或者係我哋喺稍後嘅時間再答大家關於呢一個 Burnaby 嘅問題嘅。咁我哋嚟緊嘅時間就交俾 Ming 啦，咁佢就 from Langley School Board 嘅。So Ming, let's welcome Ming from Langley. Langley is actually a very good school board if you want to get away from urban crowded, and that's the place to be. It's very nice place to be and very good school board. So Ming, can you please introduce your school board to parents and students? Thank you.
Okay, wow. Thank you to my colleagues. And I think first of all, I want to thank Skyreach to, invite me. It's such an honor to talk to you about the Langley School District. Let me introduce myself first. I lived in Langley for 29 years. This is my 29th year working at Langley School District. I have been a high school teachers in three different schools. I have been a ESL department head, English as a second language department head in 3 different schools. And I have been an international program coordinator at 3 different schools. And I was a vice principal in 2 elementary schools. So now I'm working in the international student program as a program advisor to international students, and also working with the marketing team, marketing for the international student program. So that's me. So whatever I'm talking to you today is from an educator's point of view. So let me share my PPT with you, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to talk about elementary school first. Today, I think the angle that I'm going to talk to you is a little bit different. I want to talk to you about how to select elementary schools when you come to Canada, how to select high schools when you come to Canada. I think that it's really important, in your journey to come to Canada, you want to probably choose a really good school, right? So I think that the standards that you have to choose a good school, you will look at, as a parent and as a, so what can you do? So, there's so many schools, so you have to pick. So then you have to look at the, Fraser Institute of School Ranking. You look at the community, the where the school is located. Then you look at the school boards, the service they provide, and what kind of, programs they have. So these are the standards. So the first one is, Fraser Institute of School Ranking. We have 1,578 public elementary schools. And then we have 364 private, elementary schools, almost like 2,000 schools. As a parent, when you come to BC, what do? It's like an ocean there, right? So what do you do? How you have to go from somewhere. So maybe you can look at the Fraser Institute of School Rankings. That's all based on the provincial exam scores. If the students in a school, they rank, they get a better scores in the provincial exams, that school ranking is higher. Now, to tell you the truth, BC teachers, administrators don't like this Fraser Institute of School Rankings very much because they think it's not a holistic kind of a way to evaluate whether the school is good or not. But as a parent, you have to go somewhere, So I think this is still a valuable tool for you when you have to pick an elementary school. So then you have to look at whether the community is, good for you, in terms of transportation, shopping. Is it safe? Is it beautiful? Is it zero pollutant? So that's all important for you to think about. And then the third standard is that you have to look at the school board, whether they have people to support international students, whether they have a team. How about that school? Do they offer the programs that you like? And then the community, is it convenient, right? Whether the school, location, the building and the facility, you like it. So that's all the things you have to take into consideration. But now let me talk to you about Langley elementary schools. So let's look at this. This is the map, okay? And here is Vancouver. This is Richmond. Richmond has a lot of restaurants, Chinese restaurants. They said the best Hong Kong like chef, they all end up working in Richmond restaurants. Lots of Chinese live here too. And Vancouver is, a place that is a lot of tourist attractions, right? This is the international airport, and here is Langley. So it's about not that far. If you drive 45 minutes, 45 minutes, 45 minutes, by car, and it's 45 kilometers, not that far. And then if you take a transit, there's a SkyTrain, go to Vancouver International Airport in Richmond, and then you'd have to take one bus and get to the SkyTrain station, and then you can SkyTrain to all these places. So it's a very convenient, not that far. But the advantage, the strength of Langley is that in our schools, 90 to 95% of our students are all native born. They were born in Canada, and English is their first language. So we provide a really good environment for international students to learn English and to learn Canadian culture. So it's a very family-oriented community, very beautiful. I'll show you pictures later. Very quiet. And so it's really suitable for like young students to learn, to grow in Langley. It's like a beautiful park. Everywhere you go in BC, it's beautiful. We have 35 elementary schools. And so we have 21 elementary schools accept international students. The other schools are full with domestic students. If students want to come to Canada, they have to, like elementary students, they have to come with their parents. because they are too young to live in homestays. Okay, and every one of our elementary schools offer ESL. So if students don't speak English, no problem, we'll teach them. So mainly they will go, most of the time they go with their regular classes, but then we'll pull them out to do one-on-one or small class ESL instruction. So plus, as an elementary student, it's the best time for them to learn English. So you never have to worry about whether they will learn English. They will, okay? And we provide really good ESL instructions. This is the really important chart. This, I just told you we have 2,000 elementary schools in BC, and this is the first 30, the best 30 elementary school ranked based on, Fraser Institute of School Ranking. As you can see, number 26, Alex Hopper Elementary. This is elementary school in Langley, and it's ranked top 26. So it's really like a good ranking. I think it's important. That's, it's based on Fraser Institute of School Ranking. As a parent, this is a good tool for you to use. And I really recommend these 6. We have 35 elementary school and the 21 elementary schools we accept international students. And I really recommend these 6 elementary. So this is a high school, Warner Grove Secondary School. And we have about 360 high schools, secondary schools in BC. And this school is ranked 32, okay? And so under this school, you have 6 elementary schools. It's a kindergarten to grade 7. Really new buildings. It's a Warner Grove area, really beautiful. The parents living in that area, mostly educated, with a university degree. They're really interested in their children's education. They're involved in the school activities, and a beautiful community. And it's very close to the freeway. So it's very easy for parents to, if they want to go to Vancouver, it takes only 40 minutes. And in this Warner Grove area is like downtown for Langley. It's a new downtown, has a lot of restaurants and, shops, grocery stores. So it's a beautiful area, and it's very convenient for shopping and very family oriented. And it's mostly like a professional, their parents are, professional or middle management jobs. And so highly educated people live in this area. So I really recommend these 6 schools that are really provide a good education. So most of our elementary aged children go to those 6 schools, and their parents live in this area. I'm not going to show you the video. I don't have time. So shopping in Langley is very convenient. And this is like a Costco, okay? And this is Langley, shopping mall, Willowbrook shopping mall. In this shopping mall, there is TNT. It's a Chinese, like a shopping mall. Everything you want to buy for Chinese food, you can get it from there. And this is a Korean H Market, and they sell some Chinese stuff too. So in Costco, you can buy everything. So shopping in Langley is easy, very convenient, because in Canadian, like a city, planning, Langley is a Greater Vancouver. It's one of the satellite city to Vancouver. So whatever shops Vancouver has, we have branches in Langley. So it's very similar. So you really don't need to go out of Langley to go shopping. Everything they have in Vancouver, we have it in Langley. And this is, surrounding area in Langley, very beautiful. We have lakes, river, and not that far from ocean. About half an hour drive, you can get to the ocean. And this is our community. So like a homestays, the kids can, live in our community like this. It's like a big park. It's really beautiful. These pictures are taken last October in the fall when the leaves are changing color. So really, really, I think it's a suitable place for children to grow and study. We have a very strong team to support international students. This is our district principal, district vice principal for international program. This is the budget officer, and these 3 people we hired to managing international student program homestays. So we don't ask other people, other company to manage our students' homestay. We hired 3 teachers manage, our own homestays. They do a great job for our international students to recruit good homestays and, to solve problems if international students have, problems or conflicts with homestays. They're doing a really good job. And we're hiring a 4th person to, managing the homestay program. So our homestay program is really doing such a good job. They're famous for their excellent job they do, okay? And then these are the people who are doing admission. So we have people speak different languages. She speaks Hong Kongese, Bowie, and she is Japanese. Fusai speaks Japanese. She's from China, so Sunny, and she speaks Mandarin. And I speak Mandarin too. And this is, Mickey, she speaks Korean. So it's we have an international team with many different languages helping parents. And this is Ella Taquan. He is in charge of the elementary admission, and he speaks Korean. So we hired 2 coordinators to, help our parents in elementary schools. So this is an elementary, Joan. She is the elementary student coordinator. So she helps families, elementary, international student. And this is Sandy. We have 21 elementary schools accept international students. So these 2, in charge of the 21, schools, they help elementary international students and families. So these are the pictures are taken from elementary schools, because elementary school finishes school really early, about 3. So then they have a lot of after school activity. So this is Topham Elementary, and it's in the Warner Grove area. That's the international student. This is RC Garnet Elementary School. It's a grade kindergarten to grade 5. And hockey, kids after school, they go to play different sports, or they register in different classes, because our school finishes really early at 3. So parents usually will, register them in sports teams or, different activities or classes, learning how to dance, how to draw, how to paint, how to sing. So different activities, after school activities. This is the school Chinese New Year celebration. So parents, if they don't work, they come to join the school for school activity. This is during the day. And this is a kindergarten math class, just let you see, because this age group, they don't have the ability to think, they cannot do abstract thinking. So if they learn how to 1 + 1 = what, they have to actually count with actual stuff. So this is a very young, kindergarten students. So they give you a glimpse of what the math class looks like. And I think in Canada, in Langley, we have a lot of good teachers, wonderful, wonderful teachers. They care for their kids and they do this job. They don't really work for the money. And these are my colleagues. And we have parent ESL classes. So if elementary school students come to Langley, parents, can go to ESL classes to learn English. It's free and it's in the school board office. These are my adult students. I teach them basic, beginners ESL, and I have another, colleague teach them intermediate and advanced ESL. So these are all my ESL adult mothers. Their children go to school and they come to learn English from me. I was an elementary school vice principal, so they're my students from elementary. Give you a glimpse. So in Canada, when we teach kids, we don't just teach them. We let them experience it or create, products to show that they understand. So I was teaching a unit on animals. So I took them to a farm to experience, how to interact with animals. So yeah, that's the field trip that I take them. So this is my elementary students. This is a very important chart. If your kid was born in 2011, you think, okay, what grade they should go to grade 5. Okay, and that's they're 10 or 11 years old. So this is an important chart to see what grade your kid should go in. So now I want to say for elementary school seats, we have seats in Langley so far. Okay, so if you have elementary aged kids who want to come to Langley, talk to Skyreach. They are our key business partners. So then you can apply. We still have seats for elementary school students so far. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to talk to you about high school. So I think for high school selection, it's more complicated. You have to know the students' dreams, what they want to do in as a profession, what's their goal, and what's their hobbies, and what they like, and what's their special talent. So I think, and then you have to know the school well. So in order to match the student with the school. So I think high school is a lot more complicated. So let me introduce our high school to you. We have 8 high schools in Langley. And the first one I want to introduce is Langley Fundamental Secondary School. This school is ranked number 1 in the Fraser Institute school ranking. This school, why this school is that good? Because they have a really wonderful, excellent, superb group of teachers in that school teaching kids. And then their parent community so interested in their education. So they're very involved in the school decisions or activities. So I think because the parents are interested in the children's education, and plus the teachers are so wonderful, and they have a really good academic atmosphere. Every year when they do provincial exams, their students always came out really top in the province. And so they really emphasize on teaching like math and English, those like core courses. Yeah, so this is the best school in Langley and in BC, okay? It's not a very big school. It has 800 students. So they only take maybe 20 international new students each year. So if you want to go to that school, you have to apply a year in advance, okay? So this is the best school. Then the next one is Langley Fine Arts. This is the only fine arts school in whole BC, okay? And so this school is very special because their children, grade 12, every year by December, the whole world, art institute would go to their school to get their students and give them scholarships. So by Christmas, every one of their graduates would have a place to go. And usually they go to if they are learning music, they go to Juilliard in New York. If they're learning arts, they go to Emily Carr, or they go to New York, School of Design. They go to the best art schools in the world. And they have 6 different majors. They have painting, they have, photography, dancing, music, drama, and creative writing. So this school, if you want to go, you have to give them, portfolio. The student has to create a portfolio to give it to them. Then they would evaluate. Then they decide which student to take. So there is a selection process. So you apply, we will admit you to the school district of Langley, and then this school will do their own evaluation. So then by the end of January, they will let the student know whether they're accepted into their program or not, okay? And then the next one is Warner Grove Secondary. I just introduced this school. And their ranking is around 32 out of 360 schools in BC. This is the biggest school in Langley. They have 2,000 students. It has AP program. And because the school is relatively large, that's why their courses are really rich. They're famous for cooking program. They have a formal teaching kitchen. And they work with Ryerson University and Vancouver Community College. There's a hotel management program. So it's a really special program. They also are famous for computer program, robotic courses. And their sports team is their basketball team is famous in the province. And this school is really special. And underneath 6 elementary schools, which I recommended. And it's a really good community for international students. They have, because if elementary parent, parents come with an elementary student, you need to rent like places or buy houses. This place has a lot of new houses, built so many new housing in that area. So you can buy or rent easily, okay? And it's a beautiful area. And this school called IE Mountain Secondary, I worked in this school as an ESL department head and an international program coordinator for 14 years. I left this school in 2018. Very special to me. It has an IB program. So this school got a brand new building. They just started to use it last September. It's beautiful, modern, very good looking, very convenient and comfortable for kids. And the equipment inside is just so modern. Every class has like a, TV, and it's just really beautiful. And their furniture is all new. So this school has 1,500 students, 1,500. So 25% of the students in IB. This school is from grade 9 to 12, and they accept international students. And then the old Mountain Secondary School site becomes a middle school. So it's a grade 6 to grade 8, also accept international students. So 2/3 of 75% of the students go to regular program. This school ranked number 90 out of 360 schools in BC. And it has lots of clubs because the IB students, they have to lead and organize clubs. The teachers are a group of wonderful teachers because they teach IB, they teach regular students too. So it's very academic, very good, positive school, good culture. In a very nice neighborhood. I live close to this school. From my house to drive to this school for 3 minutes. Really beautiful. The pictures I show you, it's from that area, okay? Brookswood Secondary School. I taught in this school for 8 years. My daughter graduated from this school. It has AP. It's ranked about 100 out of 360, okay? So it's pretty high ranking. This school is famous for the film and the television making, course. They won international and national awards and are very special. My daughter took that course. It's a really great course. And their basketball is famous. They have French immersion. They also have like horse riding classes. This school's music program is very good. Every year they have students do like musicals, So these 5 are really good schools in Langley, okay? And then Aldergrove Secondary School is, this school has 100% like a Canadian students, no like immigrants. Really good environment for learning English. It is on the borderline between Langley and Abbotsford. The students mostly from farms. It has AP classes as well in that school. And they are famous for jazz music and for sports and clubs. Langley Secondary School is in Langley downtown. Very, good transportation. They have a bus depot next to the school. So very convenient. So you can take buses to go everywhere. And this school they offer like Italian and Japanese. And they also have really good shop classes like, metalwork, woodwork, those classes. And it's very famous for the fine arts program, painting. If students cannot get into Langley Fine Arts, if they're good at painting and drawing, usually we would send them to that school. Okay, so now let's look at these 8 schools as like choices. How you match your students to the school. So if a student who is getting A's and want to go to the best university in Canada or United States or in the world, academic really strong, then you can think about sending them. First choice would be Langley Fundamental because this is academically very strong school. It's ranked number 1. Or you can send them to IE Mountain Secondary for IB program, or you can send them to Warner Grove Secondary because this school has AP and also ranked 32 out of 360 schools, really strong school. Or you can send them to Brookswood. It also has AP and also has, it's ranked not that bad. It's 100 out of 360. So if an academically really strong student, you can send them to fundamental or IB, Mountain, or Warner Grove AP or Broxville AP program. Okay, so if a student, he, is not very strong, but want to learn English, cannot, be in very competitive like an environment, then Otto Grove Secondary or Langley Secondary will be a good choice because they have 100% like Canadian students. They don't have very many, students from other nationalities. So very good learning environment for language, for English and a Canadian culture. And then they're not that, competitive. So maybe you can send them to these two schools. If a student who is very good at cooking wants to go to become a chef, then you can send them to Langley Secondary or Warner Grove. They have teaching kitchen in those schools, and they work with universities and colleges for those programs, okay? Or if a student who is really interested in robotic making or building, so they have robotic, computer science is really strong at Warner Grove. You can send them there, right? If a student is really interested in, fine arts, go to Langley Fine Arts, drama, music, dancing, drawing, painting, right? Or if a student who is good at music, but they cannot get into Langley Fine Arts because space is limited, then you can send them to DW Poppy. DW Poppy, their music academy is so famous, yeah, really good. And then if a student, if they cannot get into fine arts, then like a painting and drawing, you can then send them to Langley Secondary because their fine arts program is really strong. If a student is good at playing hockey and then they want to become a professional hockey player, then send them to Langley Secondary because they have hockey academy, or Otto Grove, they have hockey teams. They both have like a hockey arena beside the school, okay? If a student is really wanting to be a filmmaking, loving like making films and want to become a filmmaker, okay, they're interested in television and filmmaking, so then send them to Broxville. They're famous for it. Or if a student want to, interested in taking environmental science program, send them to Warner Grove, right? If their student is really good at basketball, send them to Warner Grove or Broxville. The basketball teams are really strong. So you need to know what your children's passion are, what's their goal in life, and what kind of a job they want to do, and what's their hobby, and what's their interest. Then you find a school that will match all of the things they have, and then they will be successful. I think as a parent or as, somebody, advisor who is helping the children make those choices, it's really important to get to know the school and then get to know your children and find the best match so they can be successful, okay? I think we have two strengths in Langley. One is, we have, every school, we have international program coordinator. I have been a coordinator over 20 years in 3 different schools. So this coordinator, is like a mom and dad helping international students. The parents are not with international students in high school. Usually they're in homestays. So they miss their home and they're not, mature enough to handle all the problems in school or in life. So they need that person like a mom and dad to help them. And this is the Langley, only Langley has that. It's unique. It's all teachers. They hire 8 teachers working in 8 different high schools, helping international students. They do everything. They help international students select the courses. They counsel them if they cry. If they want to apply for university, they counsel them. They advise them, helping them. If the student has a problem with the homestay, they help resolve conflicts. So this person is really important in the international student lives. And I'm glad in Langley schools, every high school will have one of those persons. Myself, I worked in 3 different schools. I sent many students to universities. I cried with the children if they miss their family or if something happened to their family, or if they have a problem with their friends, I mediate, do conflict resolution. And so I'm glad we have the important person in every student's lives in Langley, international student lives in Langley. And also our homestay program is very special. We from day one, when we have our international student program more than 20, about 30 years ago, we established our homestay program. So we look after our own homestays, we recruit the new homestays, we get rid of the bad ones. And if the kids have problems with homestay, the teachers, we have homestay coordinators, they would, help resolve, and also school coordinators will help to resolve the conflicts. So our children are very safe in the homestays they live, and also in the school, they go, because in the school, we have school coordinators to help them. And in a homestay, we have homestay coordinators to help them. So we hired a lot of people to support and help international students success so they can go to university. And I have a lot of students went to universities everywhere in the world. Okay, so now you can ask me some questions. Oh my God, I did as best I could. Okay.
It's okay, thank you, Ming. 係啦，咁啊好多謝Langley School District 嘅介紹啦。咁我哋咧嚟緊咧就係一個叫最後一個 Q&A 嘅環節啦。咁呢個 Q&A 環節咧可以問翻我啦，問翻 Ming 啦，問翻 Richard， 即係仲有其他問題啦。或者咧你可以WhatsApp 我哋，可以喺留言個 chat box 度留言俾我哋啦，或者係錄音俾我哋，我哋都會幫你轉達個問題嘅。咁我哋因為個時間都稍為即係長咗少少，咁我哋都唔希望咗加拿大嗰邊太多嘅時間。咁咧，如果有問題想問嘅家長嘅，咁咧可能就可以文字盡快打俾我哋啦，打字啦，咁我哋可以盡快問學校嘅。係啦，咁我哋會喺呢度咧等大家嘅問題等一等嘅。係啦，大家有問題咧，咁就發啲 message 問我哋啦。咁我哋就會問我哋就會問Richard 同埋 Ming 嘅兩個 school board。其實咧唔一定係問佢哋 school board 嘅問題㗎，你問一啲關於BC 省嘅學制咁佢哋都係好有經驗可以解答到大家啦。甚至乎其實正話咧Langley School District 其實都介紹咗其實揀學校嘅情況啦，因應翻嘅興趣啦、學校嘅強弱啦去揀學校嘅。咁如果你話我想特別邊一個 district 想問啲咩學校嘅，都可以喺度問嘅。
You can write on the chat board. Ask me any questions.
Yes, we are asking them to write on the chat box or WhatsApp, voice message, any sort of different channel. If they get in any questions, we'll collect them and ask them on behalf of the parents, or even they can just switch on the microphone to ask directly as well. 係啦，咁如果家長你直接有問題嘅，咁可以開咪啦，廣東話同我哋講，我哋同Ming 啦或者係 Richard 咧再去問個問題嘅。
Wow, looks like they have no question.
Probably because they are a little bit shy to ask, but I'm sure that if if they were given a little bit of time, they will ask, or maybe they are gathering their questions. So if we get any more questions, we will surely direct them to you. Let me just check if I've got any questions.
Sure.
Okay, so I've got one question from parents. So after listening to all three school boards, are international students free to select any school in any school board without boundary of area of living?
International students can select any schools. There's no boundary. But then if you, let's say, live in Vancouver or Burnaby and you go to school in Langley, it's too far. You have to consider, you have to think about, the distance you have to drive, right? Yeah, for international students, there's no boundary. Like for Canadian students, you have to live in a catchment area. You have to live here before, you can apply to attend that school. You have to be like go to the school in your neighborhood. So for the Canadian students, for international students, there's no boundary issue. But then there's a practical issue. You cannot like live in Langley or go to school in Vancouver. It's too far. It takes like a 45 minutes drive to get there, right? So it's better, I advise, to live where you live beside your school, live in the neighborhood, because there's for high school students, there is like a school activities in the evenings after school. So if you live too far, you have to leave right away. Then you miss all the opportunities to go to clubs, school clubs, or sports activities, or even interacting with your friends. Because if you're in the neighborhood, you have the advantage of do things with your classmates, with your friends. And that's an important part of a growing up, process for a teenager, or even for younger children, elementary students. You have to let them play with their friends. So I recommend, as an educator, live in your school neighborhood. That's the best. Yeah. And in Langley, the houses recently, like Langley, you compare, in terms of housing price, comparing with like Burnaby or Vancouver, it used to be like so much cheaper, but recently it went up a notch. But it's comparing with Vancouver, it's still much cheaper. Yeah, so housing, but it really like went up quite a bit in pricing in terms of housing. Yeah.
Okay,
did I answer your question?
Yes, I think so. So Richard, is there any location boundary for Burnaby?
Yeah, so the difference between local students and international students is local students will go to their catchment area, but that's not the case with international students necessarily. So we always encourage parents not to rent or buy a home until they know their school placement, particularly with elementary. So please wait until they've got their exact elementary school placement before they find their accommodation, before they find their place to live. And yeah, for both high school and elementary, we do allow them to choose their top 3 choices on the application. For high school, or we say secondary school in BC. It's pretty easy, like we can tell them right on the letter of offer which school they got. But for elementary, it usually comes at a later date where we actually do the specific school placement.
Yeah, it's the same for Langley. High school, you can apply, and then we will tell you right away which school has space or which school is already, full. And so which school you can go right away. You have to give 3 choices, and we can tell you which one you can go right away. But for elementary school, we usually if before, let's say, I would say at the end of March, if they request of those 6 schools I recommended, they usually can get in. But after the end of March, beginning of April, we build a grid. We would send it to a office in the school district. Then they will have to start to decide which, they will have to arrange it centrally. If you apply after, let's say, March the 30th, so then although you can still request, I want to go to this school, let's say Topham, but they not necessarily will give you Topham, because they have to look at the big picture, which school has space, and then they just let you go to that school. So for parents, it's better for Langley, it's better to apply before the end of March, and then usually you can get your choices. And after March, there's no guarantee. And then we will admit you to the school district. After that, by, let's say, the end of May, then they will send you another admission letter, tell you which school your kid will go. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Ming and Richard. So Langley is pretty big in terms of area, so it's very hard to cross the border. But I think Burnaby is a little bit different, because it's a large place. Some of the area are actually quite connected with Vancouver. So it's actually one of the questions I came across, because I actually had a parent that they got a place. I think for example, if they had an address slightly west of Boundary Road if they want to apply to Burnaby School Board, and if they are international students, it's still okay to do so?
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a lot of students that will live just inside Vancouver. Like, for example, my office where I work at the district office, I can walk to Vancouver in about 5 minutes. So it is right, it's right next to us. So yeah, a lot of our students live like just inside Vancouver or like just inside Coquitlam. But, as Ming said, you do need to figure out, I mean, we have Google Maps, right? So if they always ask me, oh, can I live here and go to school there? And I just check the address in Google Maps if they can get there in a reasonable amount of time. And Google Maps has that beautiful public transportation feature where they can just check how long does it take to get from here to here on the bus or whatever. So if it's all about whether it's a reasonable distance. It's okay to be outside of a catchment or a city boundary, but it's exactly as Ming said, it's about the reasonable distance from your school.
Okay,
yeah, and
thank
it
you.
affect children's their lives. And I think children's lives has two. One is school life, the other one is family after school life. So you have to take all these elements into consideration when you decide where to live. So I recommend you live close to school, especially for elementary school students. Yeah. So
Okay, thank you, Ming.
children.
So thank you. So I've got one question from one of the parents, just to follow up previous question, I think to Richard before. It's the IELTS requirement, or the grade 12 English requirement getting into university. So she was asking that what are the marks requirement for getting into university from grade 12 English or IELTS for university degree? For this, I think it depends on the university really, right? So maybe I can share the screen a little bit because I'm just Googling and do the, say for example, maybe we can share, I'm sharing this to all the parents anyway. So if you can go to check with each university will have different English language and entry requirement. Maybe you need 80, 85 or 90% grade 12 English for UBC, or maybe you just need maybe 70% for KPU. It really depends on the degree, and it really depends on which university. So maybe I can tell a little bit in Cantonese, if you allow me to do so. So 咁咧，其實咧去翻個大學嘅網站啦，譬如 UBC 咁樣，咁咧佢有個 English Language Competency 嘅要求嘅。咁咧佢會下面咧呢一紮嘢啦，咁我放大少少啦，咁佢會講咧關於你嗰啲嘅咩嘅英文嘅要求嘅。咁譬如啦，佢會話咧如果你係喺譬如呢度啦，咁咧70%，咁啊譬如 Alberta 嘅 BC。咁就 BC 要 English 12啦，咁另外咧有啲叫做 Test of English Language Proficiency 啦，咩叫做 Test of English 嘅 Proficiency 咧？咁你撳入去咧，咁佢就會有譬如一啲IELTS 要求啊，譬如咧UBC 咁一般嚟講咧要求6.5分啦，咁另外咧其實佢都會接受其他嘅英文嘅要求嘅，譬如 PTE 啦 ，Pearson 嘅 PTE 啦。TOEFL 啦，佢哋都會接受嘅，或者 Cambridge English 咁樣啦。咁咧每間大學每個 degree 會唔同嘅。呢個係 general 嘅 entry requirement 啦。For example， 如果你諗住係要去到 education 嘅，咁佢可能要求你7.0啦。一啲其他嘅科目咧，可能會要求其他嘅分數，視乎你想報咩科目。不過咧，譬如啦，如果係譬如 UBC 咁樣，假設一個 general 嘅 degree， 咁咧IELTS 係要求6.5分。咁但係如果你係已經喺 BC 讀緊12班嘅英文嘅，咁你就睇翻佢哋 BC 嗰個嘅英文要求啦。佢就話要70% 啦，咁但係咧其實老實講啦，70% 咧係唔夠攞 offer 嘅。通常我哋睇緊都要80零90% 啦，咁先至會入得到嘅。即係如果你話去 UBC 嘅話。 咁我陣間會用英文再問一問學校關於個要求啦。不過我估計佢係大致上會答我差唔多嘅嘢嘅。So I was just explaining the English entry requirement for university. On the website, it said 70% or better in BC English 12. But I've just explaining that for the category of, say, UBC, if you're only getting 70%, it ain't good enough for you to get in or get any offer. Is there any insight?
Can I help you? I advised students many years in this. I can help you.
Yes.
So let's put it this way. There's two categories of post-secondary school. One is like a UBC first class university. The other one is like KPU. Those are, we call them second class university colleges. So they have different entrance requirement. So if you have been in Canada for, let's say, 4 or 3 years, so then they say, okay, you can omit, you don't have to take all these standardized tests, things like IELTS. So you just need to get, 72% and above in your English language, class, right? So yeah, if you, let's say you have a good GPA in the other courses, because now they have 6 courses. If you have a good GPA in the other courses, you have, let's say, English 12, you get 70% and above, they will still accept you, okay? So this, like for UBC, Waterloo, University of Toronto, those are like for the best universities. And then if your student is, let's say, being in Canada less than 3 or 4 years, and then university will require the student to take standardized testing, IELTS or TOEFL. So for IELTS, for good university, you have to get overall above 6.5. And then each category cannot be below 6. And so then for, let's say, KPU, the second class university college, you can get, they will say, okay, 6 point, you can get into, those schools. And then each category cannot be less than 5.5. But actually for KPU or for like, Langara, all these university colleges, if you can pass English, they take you, period. They have lower standards. If you pass English, if you get a graduation, diploma from, BC, they take you. But for the most competitive is good university like a UBC, Waterloo, you have to get 6.5 and above. Each category cannot be lower than that. So yeah, so that's basically so simple, right? You have 2 categories.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ming, for clarifying. And Richard, I saw on the chat box there's some questions for you. Maybe you can answer that.
Yeah, and I'd just like to clarify too, I used to do university admissions, and I wouldn't call them second-class universities. Like all of the public universities in Canada are excellent. And we're very lucky in British Columbia that you can actually go to any number of public colleges and universities, and within the first 2 years, those credits would actually transfer if you are accepted to go to one of the research universities. So our smaller universities are teaching-focused universities, and our bigger universities are more research-focused universities. But they are.
The standards to getting to those schools are different. University college is much lower, right? If you're 19 and you have a graduation diploma and you have you pass your English 12, they take you. Or even if you don't have, let's say, a high school diploma, then they will offer you some opportunity to upgrade some of your grade 12 courses. You're 19, they just take you. So I think for the standards for kids to get into university colleges is much lower than UBC and Waterloo. Of course, they are very good institutions, but they serve different clients, right? Yeah, and then if say a student graduate from IB program or AP, their marks are excellent. I think most of the kids probably will want to go to UBC or Waterloo, UT, right? Because they can get into, because their GPA is high enough and they have really good English 12 marks, and then IELTS score is high enough to get into. And then another student, if they, and some students very good with good marks, they want to live close to home. They don't want to travel or live in another city. They choose to go to community college. Yes, there are exceptional cases like that. But most kids who can get into UBC, I think they want to get into UBC, and their marks are usually good, right?
Yeah, and if they can afford it, there's a huge price difference. International students,
tuition. But international students, they don't care about money. Most of the kids are rich. They want to get into UBC or Waterloo if they can. They will never give up like a UBC for, let's say, Langley because of the money issue. Otherwise, they were not going to come to Canada. We're serving a different clientele. And I have been in that industry for 29 years. I know, trust me.
Yes, yes. By the way, Richard, we have one of the parents definitely would like to ask you some question. She asking you about the mini school, and now she would like to know: is this decided for students with better academic standard for the mini school, or is it a separate school in every school, or just for some sources like AP course? Would you mind to answer that question, Richard?
Yeah, sometimes we do have international students that go into that. It is very limited, and Alpha is full for this year. It's not like AP, but yeah, it is for students who have a keen academic interest in a specific area. So I think Alpha is our only school with a mini school. Yeah, I don't get too many international students going into that, but yeah, it is open to international students. Yes.
But Richard, the parents asking that if mini school is designed for academic better students, if given their space, or what? Can you explain a little bit what kind of thing is that for mini school?
It's a particular kind of student that will go in there. But maybe I can send you more information about it.
Okay.
About it, yeah.
Okay, so the parents just asking, so who will go to mini school? Is there anyone who particularly pick mini school over other school? Is there any reason behind that, or they just happen to be nearby and next door to it and just pick it?
Yeah, I actually don't have many international students in the mini school, so.
But how about for local students? What are the reasons for them for picking mini schools over the others?
Yeah, I think it's about their specific interests. So I will send you the information about our mini school at Alpha. It's not something we really promote a lot to international students, but I'll send you the information about it.
Okay, so normally students have particular interest on that particular mini school, they will pick that mini school basically. So it depends on if the interests match the student.
Yes. Yeah, I'll send you more information about it.
Okay, maybe you can put that down to the link, or maybe you can send us and we can forward to the parents.
Yeah.
So can we put it in another way, saying that mini school it's not really for particularly better academic standard, it's for particular interest?
Yes, I would say that, because most of our high academic achievers will do AP.
Okay. So basically,
I put the link there to the mini school.
OK， 係啦，咁咧啱啱位家長啦，咁其實round up 翻 Richard 講啦，咁其實 mini school 就理論上咧就係如果你覺得嗰間 mini school 嘅特別嘅 interest 係啱你咧，咁你會揀啦。咁如果係 for academic excellence， 理論上就會揀一啲 AP school 去讀嘅咁樣咯。係啦，即係如果佢 academic 係做得好嘅話，係啦。Okay, I think we have got most questions down there. So is there any further questions from parents? 係啦，咁如果家長咧有其他嘅問題嘅話咧，咁其實我哋時間都差唔多啦，咁啊 run 咗2個鐘。咁咧，如果有其他問題嘅，歡迎你 WhatsApp 我哋啦。咁我哋繼續喺 WhatsApp 嗰度解答你啦。咁如果你想譬如你對Langley School Board 有興趣，Burnaby 或者甚至乎較早之前嘅 Vancouver School Board 有興趣嘅，咁你可以 WhatsApp 我哋幫你去 line up 一個 one-to-one 嘅 meeting， 同個學校直接去講關於你嘅情況啦、小朋友嘅嘢啦等等嘅。咁今日時間都差唔多啦。So thank you Richard, thank you Ming for joining us for the seminar and a very good Q&A session. Parents.I'm sure they have got more questions, but time is a little bit limited and quite late in Vancouver as well. So thank you for coming and thank you for joining. If they got any further questions, we'll forward the questions to you and maybe setting a one-to-one Zoom meeting to you guys to check about, the personal questions or as well as, the academic pathway. So thanks for joining. Thank you. 好多謝家長各位嚟到啦咁樣。So thank you and good night to Canada and have a nice weekend. Thank you. 好多謝大家參加我哋今日嘅展覽。咁記得如果想 join 翻我哋其他嘅 seminar 嘅，咁 follow 我哋 Facebook 啦，或者係睇翻我哋 YouTube。咁今日呢條片咧，我哋會喺稍後啦，錄製咗之後咧，會係 send 翻條 link 俾大家可以翻睇翻嘅。咁啊，好多謝大家參加。咁希望大家有個開心嘅 weekend。多謝大家，拜拜。
Thank you.
Thanks for joining, Richard. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Thank you, Richard. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Okay, have a nice weekend.
Have a nice